It's gonna get ghetto.
It's gonna get ghetto and ugly and nasty.
So nasty, so rude. So much of my life was feeling like I was one step away from being rich. And like, spoiler alert, it never happened. Y'all are scammers. Y'all are scammers. But if, God forbid, a black person or a low-income person or immigrant is doing it, oh, now they're in prison. Y'all are thugs, financial thugs.
How did you change after acquiring wealth?
Well, this is, and by wealth we mean literally.
You mean 6 figures?
Literally the lowest 6 figure. Any bitch that says they make 6 figures makes $100,000. You're never gonna find a bitch that makes $900,000 saying I make 6 figures.
No, literally just
You're not finding it.
Hey guys, welcome back to On Our Terms, hosted by moi, Ismatou. And today I'm here with the one and only Cahleb Derry.
What's up, guys?
Y'all already know. You already know. This is not a safe space. It's a brave space. Are you ready to be brave?
I have no other choice.
Exactly.
This is the brave couch.
Get ready. I'm gonna come for you.
Come for me.
Yeah.
If you come for me, I'm gonna come for you. It's gonna get ghetto.
It's gonna get ghetto and ugly and nasty.
So nasty, so rude.
Like that.
So nasty.
And that's what happened.
So rude.
And if you tuned into season 1, actually we don't do seasons here. If you tuned into earlier episodes,
Period.
you know Cahleb is no stranger to the green couch.
And this is my couch.
It's his house. We are in his home.
But also, this is episode 4.
Yeah, of us shooting together. But they, that man lost that footage. So not
No,
really.
still.
It is.
Because there was Black Excellence, there was Friends, there was the Producers episode, and now we're here.
Oh, yes. You are.
Number 4, I'm the most frequent guest on Our Terms.
Period. And the girls love Cahleb.
Really?
Yeah, they do. I think people really, like, every time someone comes up to me and is like, oh, my favorite episode was the one with you and Cahleb.
Oh
like,
God.
it's always because you could just tell that you guys are.
I appreciate that.
Period.
If you pay $45, you can get your autograph from me. Like that restaurant. We won't include that.
So, you guys already know, me and Cahleb did Prep for Prep. If you don't know what Prep for Prep is, go watch Black Excellence is Corny. Because we talk about it there. Just plugging on our terms.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
That really was a good episode. Evergreen topic.
I actually, of all the episodes, they're all great. But that episode, there's something really special about that one. So you should really go watch it.
We had a lot on our chest. And I think it's similar today. We have a lot to say.
We have a lot to say. And, doing prep led us to going to private boarding school. And that's where we were not able to, because I don't think it was like.
Some kind of grand opportunity.
Yeah. That's where we had to live with wealthy people.
That's where we were subjected to the experience.
Exactly.
Of living with the wealthy people.
And
as we said in the Black Excellence episode, the richest people in the history of the world.
The rulers of our planet, quite literally. And
the ruiners of our planet.
Basically, we've been having endless conversations about this. Hence why today we're going to talk about class. And it's time to get on this couch. And I think it's going to get a little sticky. I do think we're going to offend some people today. Like, I think I'm feeling it. He's had a yerba mate. I've had my sip of water.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to do it.
There's a lot of caffeine in there.
I'm going to do it.
And I really think this is like everyone loves to talk about a lot of other things because it's very easy.
Mm-hmm.
And class is just the elephant in the room that we really don't talk about.
I mean, everything. We can talk about I feel like it's the one thing you can talk about: race, class, like colorism, sexuality. But once you start talking about money,
it gets really dark.
Weird.
I actually would say that colorism is in the same bucket as money.
Really?
Like, you can't talk about colorism.
Really?
I guess with the woke people you can. But okay, yeah. So the point stands, because with the woke people, you actually still can't talk about class.
Still can't talk
You
about
bring up
money.
class, and it's suddenly like, I can't see, I can't hear, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Like, money is money, and people have the right to make
Yeah.
money. Like, it just we always.
It really does.
Say.
It gets really nasty really fast. Yeah,
like money. You just get money is money,
Yeah.
and people have to make money.
My parents worked hard.
Period.
Or I'm not rich because I could be richer. It's always.
Or I'm comfortable. But to start off the conversation, let's paint the picture. Where did you grow up? what kind of family did you grow up in? What kind of neighborhood did you grow up in?
So as you know, I grew up here in New York, from Rockland County originally. Respect Rockland. If you've ever seen Sex in the City, you remember when she goes upstate with what's his name, Aiden, and they go to Suffern. That's where I was born on my birth certificate. It's a little guy. It's just as green as Queens. I don't know why we're
I've just known him for 15 plus years, and I've heard this is his claim to fame for his city over and over again. So I just think it's funny.
It's iconic. Like, sorry, I don't have to tell you. I actually recently watched the show for the first time properly. I didn't realize they were literally going to Suffern. Anyway, it's like 30 minutes north of the city and pretty diverse, kind of, but also very segregated. And I feel like I grew up in a very much like a middle class to lower middle class, rural, suburban, like immigrant community, a lot of immigrant and like first gen families. And it was pretty diverse and like utopic in a lot of ways. And I definitely was in for a shock arriving at boarding school when like there was actual huge class stratification and like actual rich people. I don't think I really was exposed to that growing up, at least in my neighborhood.
I mean, that amount of wealth is jarring.
It's just like, so it's different. And I also like, in the beginning of my life, grew up much more comfortable. And then I think like many, all the different crashes and crises of the 2000s, I feel like caused a lot of people that maybe had owned property or were, closer to achieving the American dream. It kind of set people back. But I feel like the beginning of my childhood was very comfortable. I went on vacation to St. Thomas. I don't remember, but there's pictures. I was there.
Okay.
And then things really changed when my mom was laid off after 9/11. And had kind of went to the other end, not the other end of the spectrum, was like I was never on the extreme rich end of the spectrum, but went down to like the extreme highs and lows, paycheck to paycheck vibes. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that really shaped and shapes a lot of how I understand and view class, because I think that feeling of being on the margins mm-hmm. and falling out of like, because it's like a cycle. It's like once you lose your house and then you're in debt and then this and then that, it's mm-hmm. like you just can't untangle it. And the more you're tangled in that way, the more you almost fall out of like society mm-hmm. and people just don't seem to see you. I feel like having that experience really like, it's my villain origin story really, but it also really shapes how I view and like empathize with like everybody and every issue. Mm-hmm. But I think also, as you know, like my parents work in entertainment, and like my dad is very successful in entertainment, despite not being necessarily like monetarily successful. So I also did grow up like randomly around money in these different ways, mm-hmm. but which I think created a really warped sense for how I viewed class, and that it was like either you're there or you're not, and like one day if you click your heels you could just become rich, but like you have to pray really hard. That like I didn't understand what that process actually looks like, and how much of that process is actually things that are predetermined before you even came into the earth. Yeah.
How did your parents discuss wealth when you were growing up?
You've been to some of the houses. Like I moved around all the time. I lived in different places, in different houses, and some of those houses were really big and very nice, but there was always a catch. Like maybe there was no AC, or maybe like we were getting a discount, but But I think in general, there was a lot of my childhood and life, I feel like, was spent with my family trying so hard to like reach this thing, this like unobtainable thing. And that because a lot of the financial issues we had were rooted in like so many layered things that made it so hard to dig out of it. I feel like the only way we thought we would get out of this was just like a magic wand was gonna flash, especially because like my dad is a very successful musician and has a bunch of royalties he like hasn't been paid. It was a lot of like hoping and wishing and praying that like one day we'll wake up and he'll have like his millions that he's owed, right?
Yes, because
and
also
that it was like this overnight like flip switch, and it created a lot of desiring for this certain mm-hmm. lifestyle, not because we valued the people that had that lifestyle, but that was the only, to us, a ticket out of like this tumult and like ups and downs and the vicissitudes of just like poverty and home insecurity and all these things.
Yeah. Would you say that's what you thought were the signs of wealth growing up? Or what would you say is
yeah, like it's so funny how like, because I think this is, I'm sure you'll agree, like when you go to boarding school and you actually see what rich people really do. But to me, it was like, I posted this on my story the other day, like, having that other garage having that other fridge in the garage where like there's ginger ale in there. It's like, that's wealth. Like, like having 2 cars, like having a house that's yours and no one is freaking out about the bills. Like, it was so simple to me. It was so funny. I was like, just not living in anxiety and stress. And, you know, being in extracurricular activities that cost money and your parents are paying for them. Like, it was these simple things that didn't seem, those things that existing and not being complicated was like in my head wealth.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think on the other end too, like my mom also always was like, you're going to be rich, you know, and like wanted me to be like, you're going to go after stability. And my mom had exposure to a lot of different people and things in her professional career, but like also, you know, they were kind of all out of context. So like she understood vaguely that like she would meet these Black people who like grew up poor in New York, but then they like went to a private school or they went to X college.
That's how your mom found out
and
about
then they
prep,
have money.
right?
Yeah, that's literally how she found out about prep. She worked at Columbia Law School, and she said there was a Black woman there that she said her boss kissed her ass. Like, she's like, those white people kissed this Black woman's ass. Like, she ran this place like it was hers. And all she knew about her was she did this program and she went to Harvard. And she was like, okay, that like, and it makes perfect sense for her to be like, that is the ticket, you know, through this like mobility, and like you'll never have to experience these things before.
Yeah.
So that was also always molded into my mind of like, if I just do well in school, like I can have money and like my life can be different. So there was like a two parallel like things happening of like my family and us trying to do these things. And I think over time realizing like that might not happen, but I have my own kind of path here where like, if I just follow these rules and do these things, like I will have stability and won't have to live in the way I grew up. Like, it was very simple to me in that way.
Before we go too far, you were talking about your dad and royalties before.
Yes.
Your dad, can you talk more about your dad and his
honestly,
background and what song?
I would love
like,
to.
Because
we're gonna put it up on the
his
screen,
dad is
like,
Cahleb Derry is impressive and iconic, and anyone who's ever had the honor to meet him, and I grew up knowing Cahleb Derry, so I think everybody should know what he does and how he did it.
No, 100%. And honestly, I think it's so relevant when we get into, you know, why people are rich, why people have money, you know, the empires people built, and why a lot of people don't have that money, even if they have the same success. Because systemically, anytime Black people have tried to build any type of wealth, it gets torn down or stolen or burnt down in some way. And it's, you know, it doesn't fit the narrative that, oh, if you just work hard, you'll have money. Because it's like, well, yeah, but then people do, but then there's systemic and planned ways to make sure that doesn't actually become sustainable or like stability.
Yeah.
But my dad was a part of the Sugar Hill Gang back in the day. He was in the band and he played the congas and he sang backup and also sang with the band itself. The Sugar Hill Gang was the first rap group to go top 40 in the US. So that song is like hip, hip, hippity hop. The one that I love is him doing the congas and Jump on It, except the video is racist. So just trigger warning. They're all wearing Native American garb. But it was the 70s, like, but they look good. So he was in this band and when they released this rap song, they were like, there's no way this is gonna actually work. Like, all these radio DJs were like, they're talking on the song. I'm like, why would I play this? This doesn't make any sense. Like, this is dumb. This is stupid. So Sylvia Robinson, who's the CEO of Sugar Hill Records, a brilliant businesswoman, had the idea of pairing it as an A-side, B-side with a ballad and making the ballad the A-side and the rap song the B-side so that like they could ship the ballad pretty easily into radio DJ's hands. They'd play it and then they would let the rap song play and be like, oh, this is interesting. So my dad sang the ballad that they put on the other side of this record. And then that turned into the first top 40 rap song in the UK and in the US. So that A-side, B-side record has sold millions and millions and millions of copies back when it cost $9 to get a vinyl, right? And he's never seen the checks. You know, my dad's owed millions of dollars from all of this. And it's a whole long story of like all of the saga of, you know, trying to get it and, you know, the forged contracts and all these different things and the generations of scamming that really has happened over the years to maintain this. And, you know, when we were younger, so much of what we would try, I remember going to these people's houses and my parents begging them for money, just literally being like, give us just $20,000 and we'll leave you alone, which is bad business. If someone owes you money, they should pay you what they owe you. But, you know, we're desperate. Like, we're on our last leg. Like, that's the type of, I'm glad they didn't ever actually do that because it's not fucking 20K. It's millions of dollars. But so much of my life was feeling like I was one step away from being rich. And like, spoiler alert, it never happened. But it felt like, if we just, because it seems like this can be
just
like
one more
worked
thing.
for.
Yeah.
And we were just always caught between these poles. But in reality, we were deeply far away from that. And like, that's a systemic thing.
And it's so funny that you kind of also just said it too, but like wealth acquisition feels so close, but it's actually so far away.
Yeah.
And in a way, even with all that we know now too, still think it's possible.
Exactly.
Like, because it's like, I feel like you need to have it in this capitalist system that we live in. Like, you have to have this dream or this desire
It
for
keeps
wealth
you
in
alive.
order
It
to
keeps you
survive.
going. Yeah.
In order to continue surviving. Otherwise, I guess you'd kill yourself. I don't know.
Literally. And because, I mean, yes. And because, like, I think we both grew up, right, with not having a lot of the time. And it also was for us, like, I simply cannot live the life I lived growing up. Like, I simply can't. And we've, have achieved that to an extent. Like, we have, objectively speaking, like, I have my own apartment and I pay for it. And I'm, like, not behind on the rent. I'm, like, not behind the rent, and I make money and I have a job and I have a college degree. Like, my parents did set me up to have that baseline difference. But to your point, it's also like, then you get laid off from your job and you can't find a job for a year and you're all of a sudden right back to where you were before in the blink of an eye. And, God forbid there's a medical emergency or just any kind of thing. It's really easy to flip back. You're so much closer to that powerlessness and that, like, literal poverty than you are to, like, this wealth and stability that we're going after, despite the amount of time and work that has been done just to get us here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm also curious because I feel like we have a similar childhoods in that, like, we saw our parents at some point actually low-key have money, right? Like, they actually did do it. Like, they achieved the American dream. Like, we did the right thing. But then, like, I feel like, again, systemic shit, it makes it way easier for us to be able to lose that or not be able to sustain it.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I'm curious how you make of that perspective of also feeling like close and far, and then we get to private school and it's like, oh, we was never even in the ring. Like, I was never even in the ring. Like,
exactly. I mean, growing up, like, we were definitely very comfortable too. Like, I would say my dad's a Guinean immigrant. Like, he came here in 1989. He was one of the like, I want to say, like, one of the first Guinean people to come to the States. And he got here day 2, started driving cab, making money, and he was a successful businessman. Like, he owned a lot of businesses. I remember growing up, he was never home because he traveled so much. He was always traveling to China or, like, some African country. And so, like, my earlier memory, I don't really have early memories like that of my dad because he was always, like, we were always told he's traveling for work. He's traveling for work. And then it all kind of came crashing down when he had his stroke. And, like, that stroke changed the trajectory, I think, of our lives. And I was already at Taft at that point. I was already at boarding school. And I think I didn't realize it's now as an adult, I'm, like, looking back and I'm like, oh, wow, our lives did change in that moment. And, like, he also lost his businesses for a myriad of reasons that we can't get into in this podcast. But
that's a whole other
podcast
and that
episode.
Still comes down to, like, I don't know, privilege and, like, being American and having family that shows you how to do things and, like, having these things that can get passed down to you. Because look,
having a network of lawyers.
All these people are doing illegal things. Every single all of them. They're thieves. They're thieves.
Yeah, they're playing the tax code every day, and they're telling us. Now they get on the news and tell us how they're playing the tax code.
They're letting us know. And that's also something that just really, I know we keep teasing the arrival to Connecticut, but that's really, like, something I remember being like, y'all are scammers. Y'all are scammers. But but if, God forbid, a Black person or a low-income person or immigrant is doing it, now they're in prison. Y'all are thugs, financial thugs. Like, going to school with the people whose families literally caused the financial crisis, and they're still rich. Why are you so rich?
Or like their parents are, like, politicians and, like, your congressman and, like, insider trading
and, like, lobbying for things to make sure that anti-competition laws do not exist, that businesses can monopolize, that because money from those politicians is going in their pockets. It's just
one big fat ass scam. And then you're sitting there, like, and that's why I do think our perspective as privileged poor is so unique. Because
when you don't see it and you haven't touched it, it makes you believe the logical part that if you work hard for X, you'll get Y. Like, they have to sell that story in order to get people to keep on waking up and getting on the train and going to work.
And I feel like because of how I grew up and, like, having seen my dad achieve the American dream, and so he very much so believed, like, in America you can, and to a certain extent, to date, I still kind of believe America is one of the few countries an immigrant can come and you can really do whatever the fuck you want. Like, it's one of the few countries as a poor Black person you can arrive and do whatever the fuck.
It says a lot about how the fuck the world is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, because
exactly.
It's like, I feel like because there's these glitches in the system where people succeed, there's no actual structural like things created to actually facilitate this.
Mm-hmm.
And the few people that come in and succeed and become the story, like Oprah, you know, the self-made billionaires, they become this emblem to like block change, honestly, because it's like, oh, those few people can do it. But it takes exploitation, like, and it takes luck also.
No, and I didn't even arrive there until like college. Because like, I think growing up until boarding school, I think my signs of wealth was like what my family had. Like my dad was telling us like, you're lucky you grew up in a house. Like we bought a house. Like you should be grateful. Like we have a car. Like you guys have food in the fridge. Like, so to me, real simple girl. I was like, oh, my fridge is stocked to the brim. We have a freezer in the basement.
like I'm rich.
We have a house, and we were and that was like something that my dad was really proud of, and I still think he should be incredibly proud of. Like he was one of the first, like Guineans in our community to like buy and own his house, and and that was it's now I'm realizing how much of us that is stability. Like that is stability. That we were incredibly stable as a family. I've never once thought of, and I was never worried that I was going to come home and like my house is not going to be there. I always had that. And it's now in my 20s, like I'm much more appreciative of that because it is a privilege in itself. I think it's when I went to boarding school, I was just like, oh, we have nothing.
We have nothing. I was like, oh.
Like when I met these kids and I was like, oh, you're doing what? Where?
With who? And I mean, I think I feel like I have two like separate thoughts. One I'll say quickly is that I think another thing that really impacted my perception of wealth was Disney Channel and like TV shows. Because the way that the middle class was portrayed, they had these $1.3 million houses. And I was like, that's middle class. Like, why don't I have that?
And
like,
these huge houses with like so many books.
And so much food.
So many books.
And so much Diam electronic.
And a study. A house with a study.
A house with a study. They had a pool, they had all these things. And that also created this perception of like, of yearning, always yearning and always thinking like, and a warped perception also of like what the norm was, like what people actually, so it's funny, it's like the opposite of also what we're saying of like thinking that certain things were oh, this must be rich because like we didn't have the view of like the rich, but at the same time also having a warped perception of what comfort looked like because I was like, this is not how the average American lives. That house that Raven Baxter lived in, her dad was like a famous chef, I guess. But a lot of these families would have like, oh, my mom's a teacher and my dad's a plumber, and then they live in a mansion. I'm like, what do you got? This is what it should be like in fucking America. This is the idea on paper. This is literally not what's happening in practice.
Wait, so I have to ask you, like, so did wealth acquisition seem possible to you at that age, like before prep or like I think like
it's interesting because I think like ultimately I grew, and I've been processing a lot of this in therapy now. Of like I grew very cynical over time because it felt like this is never going to happen. Like, you know, when I was 6 years old, I came home one day and we didn't have a house anymore. Like that was because there was a mortgage scam by a white person that, you know, which is exactly what is happening in all these neighborhoods. They're stealing and taking property from Black people. I think for a long time, I did believe someone was going to like swoop in. And that was because in some ways it is believing in meritocracy because I was like, well, my dad did do the thing. He did it.
Yeah.
He's training these people and these famous people and he's successful and he has a business and my mom is so smart. Like
he had a cameo on Love and Hip Hop.
He was training on Love and Hip Hop. He was on Jersey Shore too. Yes. He trained Dina. But like that does not pay the bills. Yeah. Ultimately it doesn't. It's and you know, it's this slight tangent, but it's generally speaking like the amount of culture, the amount of money that Black culture creates in America, Black people have zero equity into that money. We collect at the very bottom of the funnel. Yeah. Like a little bit of money there, but the people that are actually making money off of that shit exponentially are white people. And it's just the prime example of this. But I think over time, it just became more and more clear, like, oh, this is not going, like, I'm never going to be as rich as this person whose family's been rich since their great-great-great-grandmother started or whatever. Like,
since they own slaves.
They literally owns, and this is literally what we were talking about before we started, that like the amount of money that slavery made this country, they weren't paying them and they made a lot of money. Those are good returns on investment. Like that money will never even understand or conceptualize how much it is. And all of the different people who accrued wealth off of exploitation, off of the backs of things that slavery created. Like our entire economy is propped up and created by that institution. Like it's not going to happen, bro. Like it's not happening. And I think also like going to prep, there was then this dream sold to us of like, okay, if you do XYZ career, then you can have money.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple careers where like, yes, that's probably true. I couldn't do it. I tried. I worked in finance for 3 months. Didn't work. And like, I think realizing that too of like, okay, I would actually rather just live my life in a way that fulfills me also came with like letting go of this, like I'm going to be, you know, rich. And then I also just think I think the way we have lived and the things we've seen in the last 10 years of our lives, from getting to college and Donald Trump winning to now, has also made us disillusioned with capitalism in a way that I don't think the millennials are. I think it worked for them a little more. Or at least if it did, then I feel like the way they talk about money and all this stuff is so different.
So different.
And like we've gone through these job crises and like just the goalposts being moved and the hard work that we put in that was guaranteed to get us stability. That's how they made us work too hard and like just kill ourselves, honestly.
Yeah.
That goalpost got moved and
but
there's resentment
older
there.
people are so brainwashed. I do think millennials are weird as fuck and they're incredibly brainwashed and they have drank the Kool-Aid. Like I do think like this, despite them also going through their set of challenges. I mean,
they graduated in 2008. I'm like, how did y'all not become disillusioned enough to?
No, but they're just like, if we just keep working, if we just keep doing it and we keep doing what we do, it's going to somehow, I mean, it goes back to, even us to a certain extent. It's just, I think we're much more louder of like, this is all bullshit.
Yeah, we're aware of the limits of like this ticket.
But like we
freedom.
do also to a certain extent fall in line as well.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
Did you perceive rich people as good people prior to sharing space with them?
No. So honestly, it really...
That's so different from me.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I feel like, and it's now I'm realizing like white people and rich people was like synonymous to me.
Yes.
And like, I do think like wealth is moralized, like via religion and a bunch of things. Like,
and like to your point, I think society wise, like, yes, like that is literally what's told to us on
people
every level.
Worship rich people.
And like your story is suddenly important now because you're rich. And like at the end of the day, because I think my answer is so immediately no, because I think I demonized because of what happened to my family. I was like, the rich people took our house. Like, I hate them. Like, fuck them. Like, they're why I'm poor. The rich people are stealing my dad's royalties. They're why I'm poor. Like, I did have this view of the rich, bad white people. But again, to your point, at the same time, like, ultimately, people meet rich people and they want to be close to them because they feel like, oh, you must be smart. You work so hard. Like, I want to learn from you. Their words automatically matter. It's like, you want to be in proximity to them. And I think our parents naturally just were doing that all the time. And then you realize, like, this is not all it's chalked up to at all. And
also, if you think about like prep's thesis too, it's kind of like us taking these poor black kids and putting them with these rich white kids, and they will be peers, and they will mingle.
Rub off on them.
Yeah, and it will rub off, and they'll be in community and network, and they will blossom and grow into these rich people that will change your family generationally forever. Like, it's kind of like in the thesis, and they kind of also like prep us in a way too. Like, you're gonna go to boarding school.
Better, but yeah.
And so like,
but I think I think we should dig in a little bit into like what that actually looked like when we got there. Like, I'm sitting here now remembering and thinking like these first few conversations I was having with these people, and like my brain was like, I feel like if you looked at my brain scans, it was probably just going off because I was like using parts of my brain I had never used in my life because of the conversations we were having when we were arriving at these institutions of like just the sheer wealth. Like, I'm remembering like with financial aid and tuition, like I feel like there was the understanding that most of these kids' parents were paying $60,000 a year for their 14-year-old to go to high school. Like, wow. Like that in itself. And I think also, like, I don't know about you, but I arrived at boarding school like I'm on full financial aid. Like, I don't pay anything. And people being upset about that, or like thinking it was weird, or thinking it was surprising, or like learning very quickly, like, oh, class is this thing you have to protect. You have to like wear this in a specific way and maybe keep it a secret and maybe weaponize it in different ways. Like, I think I just I was never in it like that enough to ever realize how politicized this thing really was. Because basically I just grew up around people that all had like niggas that were rich. Their parents just like made $100K. Like, it wasn't like we actually were living in this monumentally different world and speaking a different language. And that came when we met people with dynasty last names, people who, make weapons. and defense and are from political families and are from
They literally are
monopolies.
responsible for everything that is wrong with the world.
All
Like
of
when
the
you look
crimes
at
of
something and
humanity.
you're like, that's a problem. The family that's like responsible for that was like 2 students away from you in the classroom, and you were like, what?
It's really chilling.
No, it is. I want to circle back to the point of like wealth and morality, because like one of the things when I got to Taft that I quickly realized was that like rich people suck. Rich people
Truly.
are corrupt. Rich people are stingy as fuck. But all of that is kind of hidden. There's like code languages for all of their behaviors and the way that they act.
And
Be-
you can't
because
critique them.
because essentially wealth is associated with morality.
And so is power.
Christianity and like religion in general is sometimes tied to how much you can contribute to the church or to the institution. And oftentimes like those funds are misused by religious
Embezzled
leaders
down.
in some ways. Like
Also, like so much of Christianity and religion is based on like if you pray hard enough, you'll be rich. Like think like people start thanking God real quick when they have a gold trophy in their hand or when they are rich
or
as
when
fuck.
someone's rich, they're obviously blessed by God, and like
And then
it's
now
God's
they're positioned
will.
to speak to other people. Like
Yeah.
if you pray hard enough, you can be rich like me. Like
Yeah.
that whole thing is very, very toxic. And it keeps people on the wheel, coming to church, paying this tithe. Is that what it's called?
Tithes, I think. Tithes. I'm not religious. I don't know.
Yeah. My dad is
I don't know.
Jewish,
Tithes, tiffs. Correct me in the comments.
TV?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even in Islam, it's like sadaqah. Like if you give more sadaqah, if you do more prayers, if you give to religious institution more, you're going to be more blessed, and you're going to be more like you're going to be rich. And so you see rich people who like give a shit ton to these religious institutions, and like obviously yes, of course, like he's a rich man, like he's blessed by God, he's
Meanwhile,
blessed by Allah.
babes, it's tax-free. That's why he gave
it's
it.
corruption and
It's a tax-free donation. Jesus hung out with the poors. with the poors and the horse. Like he was chilling. Like it's simply not what it says in the Bible. It's not what it says, and they can try as hard as they want, but that doesn't make sense. Like religion would not. And I'm grateful that I think this is why I grew up, because I grew up in a very religious household, but my father separated us from any like institution, any church, which had its pros and cons. But ultimately, like he was able to craft his own like kind of narrative of religion that a lot of it did make sense. That would contradict what things are in the church, which is like, the church is in your heart. Like you can come to God with nothing. Like that has not like money is an earthly thing that will not be with you on Judgment Day and all these. And I was like, that makes sense. Like that makes more sense to me that we wouldn't moralize money.
Yeah.
But then we got to school and we saw, rich people can get away with murder and nobody will care.
No.
Like,
I mean, it's so crazy because I'm also seeing in like the Guinean community, because it's like now generations of Guineans have been here for a while, and like some people have acquired a lot of wealth, and these are really nasty, gross people. But like for some reason, they are platformed in our community. They're given a mic at events. They are supposed to be like the top dogs. They sponsor things, and they're people who are to be listened to be heard. Like, you know what I mean? Like even at the mosque, they're giving microphones to speak, all because they've acquired, in my opinion, little wealth. Like, just, you guys have 2 pennies in your bank account and it's fine. Like, I'm happy for you. But like, it's crazy to me how all of a sudden, and I'm telling you, it's people that should not be speaking, should not have a microphone, are really stupid, are really dumb, but yet they are given a microphone.
I mean, that's literally Alanika Musk. Like, that's like Ilonika. That's exactly the problem with this dumb man. The amount of times I see people like rationalize the dumb fucking choices that fucking dunce has made because has billions of dollars. And I think when we're so close to the types of people that go on to do that, and we've seen how dumb they are, I think, it's, and when we talk about intellect, right? That's the question, is what do you value? I'm talking about EQ. I'm talking about
critical thinking.
You can speak with somebody, you can empathize with them, you can hear and listen and think and make a choice that makes fucking sense, and be humble and be accountable and say I'm wrong and learn. Like, those are the things that we value. These people are void of humanity, and money buys you that voidness. It buys you nothing, just an empty fucking thing. An empty soul. But truly, it's also why we have the president we have right now as well. His one credibility has been that he made a bunch of money. Otherwise, it's
and
felonies,
how he did it.
law, crooks. And he's dumb. He's made that clear. He said he's going to hell. He said it himself. But still, we say, God bless Trump. What the fuck? And it's the money. Like, it's crazy how blinding money is. And it makes sense because everyone in life is struggling so much that as you said earlier, like the ability to be able to hope and dream towards this thing is the machine that keeps the world going. If we didn't have that, it would actually get really scary outside. If people realize they have nothing to lose or nothing to gain, rather, it would get real dark real fast. And every time, and we've seen it happen in small doses. And those people, they're scary. When you realize you have nothing to gain, that's when fucked up shit happens.
You know, it's so crazy. One of my friends recently went to some like organization event. I think I was like organizing event in Brooklyn, and she basically asked this question to one of the panelists, and it was just like, why is our generation not like a revolutionary generation? Like, why don't we protest? Why don't we do all these things? And he was just like, well, y'all have jobs. Like, if you can go and buy a $9 matcha, you have something to lose. You're not going to protest. You're comfortable enough, but you're not comfortable. Like, that's why y'all are not protesting.
And that's the issue, is they have just enough of us just tasting it. And that's just a little sip. But that's why, Ismatou, I really do think that something is in it. Like, there's something different about this last few years. Like, I think I talked about this with our friend Skylar all the time. That if we graduated in 93, you know, Skylar is a TV writer, I work in music, we would have been executives by now, 29, driving our cars, being like, how come they couldn't do it? We worked hard. Oh, those pores. Not literally, because I think we were raised right, but ultimately there would be a little bit of that because the system would have worked. And I'm honestly glad that there was a glitch, because we're actually in the latest stage of capitalism today. So today we're in the last one. Like, it's over. It's broken. Like, that we're at the stage now where all of a sudden you can get laid off from your job, even though you're a high performer. And like, you know, these things that did not really exist before. And it's radicalizing more of us, I feel like, that maybe would have just been on the horse and going. Because look, the way I don't like being poor. These rich people love to pretend like they're poor. You know, when people love to downplay it. I'm like, if I had money, I would accept that reality. I would not be in denial.
I'm not the second that I could I
am good, I'm safe, I am good. Like, and that's because I actually have fucking experienced this shit. But I saw like there, you know, some like a nepotism baby that I think is talented, but she's rich and she's famous and she'll never be able to separate from it. Her mom in an interview saying like, you know, she just really wants people to know that she like worked hard and pulled herself up with her bootstraps and like didn't. And it's like, but it's okay that she didn't actually do that. She didn't stick it out the mud. She's really rich. And that's okay. Like, why do you guys want to be poor? It's not fun.
Yeah, and also I feel like, no, but the thing is, what I think is happening there, though, they're not separating. Like, I'm sure she worked hard. I'm sure she went to those dance recitals or whatever, those recitals or those practice sessions that were really hard and challenged her body, but cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and only 6 people in the world can afford them. And like,
and she started when she was 8, and like that's you know
what I mean. Yeah. But I don't doubt that when she got in that room,
she was working exactly.
Her ass. But like, let's talk about how she got in that room, though. And I feel like that's where they lose me.
That's where they lose me, and that's where they lose us, because they don't want to acknowledge that, because for some reason it takes away from the achievement.
Yeah,
and it doesn't. But when you're looking at people over here who did not have that, you can say it in Chinese, you could say it in French, you could say it upside down, you could say it. You could say, it's not going to impress me.
It's not going to impress me.
It's not going to impress me. I'm sorry.
I
don't give a fuck.
I just remember this one thing in high school, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, like she's so smart, like she's on high honor roll, like oh my god." And I'd be like,
"She works so hard.
She works so hard. She's so smart. Like she's like
she meets with her tutors every day. Her tutors that cost $300 an hour."
And I would always just be like, and I remember I said something to someone once. I was just like, "Well, I hope so. She's been going to private school for years. Like that's the least you can do is get straight fucking A's. If you've literally had tutors and resources your entire life, I would hope." In 10th grade, you're getting straight A's and you're worth your parents' investment. Please. Because I've only been here for 2 years and I'm making it.
I'm just like,
and you get care packages every weekend.
And those are really the little things. And I think this is the thing about class, is that like people are never going to think about anything from anyone else's perspective ever. And generally speaking in life,
and us included,
we can get people to, like, I feel like I'm friends with a lot of women. and I understand the things that you go through that I don't. And it doesn't like make me stressed or offended if you were to say, you know, maybe you don't have to be afraid that you're walking alone at night. I wouldn't be like, fuck you. You know, I would take that and understand it. I think I've seen a lot of that cross-cultural understanding, cross-racial lines, across lines of sexuality. I have non-Black friends and I feel like understand my plight, like they get it. Maybe not white friends, I don't know about that, but I have non-Black friends that I'm like, I feel comfortable saying things around them because I know. And the class is the buck where it stops. It's like people are never going to define how they feel in relation to others. It's going to be themselves. And with money, it's endless. Like with these other privilege markers, like it does stop there. So it's not like you're looking somewhere else like, oh, but I could be more privileged. Like you're just a man. I'm just a man. Versus rich people that are like kind of rich are like, oh, but like I could be a billionaire and I could be a millionaire and I'm not. Like, no, those are the rich people. And I'm like, that is your understanding. You are rich to me. Like we have different barriers that we've experienced.
You have a freezer
like, to get people to like do that work, it is really hard. But it's because like class solidarity is actually what will tear this whole thing down. So they have spent, the FBI has spent, I mean, the CIA rather has spent time.
I think the 1% in general, like rich people in general.
They have made sure that is not what happens. Yeah. Anybody that's preached class solidarity, gone. Fred Hampton, bop, bop, bop. Anybody that gets to that part, anybody who tried to get the slaves and the farmers to team up, they said no. Y'all could talk about pronouns and y'all could talk about Black Lives Matter, and you could put the flag up. Yes, like they're sitting laughing in our face. The entire 2010s, they're laughing in our face. Like yes, like women's rights. Like yes, like yes, like you should microaggressions. Meanwhile, they're sitting here fucking us, bro. Up the ass at every corner.
So essentially, before we got to these conclusions of capitalism, we obviously were our parents' ideas of wealth and like moralizing wealth. Getting into boarding school was almost like an invitation to the table, like the table of wealth. But when we got there,
at the table,
a seat at the table. But once we got there, we realized very quickly that's not what was gonna happen, right? We're being essentially groomed, like from prep to now. It's like now post grad, we were like, wait, we were being groomed to essentially
ascend classes, like
be the best worker. We weren't like being really like. We weren't being nurtured to be like creatives or to fulfill our passions. We were being groomed to be a cog in the wheel of capitalism or like
find our place. And I mean, especially because I think when you pull back the curtain, people don't realize, people think, because people ask me this about Harvard all the time. I'm like, I think 50% of the class goes to work in consulting.
Yeah.
Goes to work at the same 4 firms that are responsible for making sure ICE saves money. They're like, we helped Bloomberg lay off half their staff. Like, it's just people that get paid so much money to keep capitalism going in a squeaky, unbothered way. And people would think like, oh my God, Harvard's building leaders, they're going to change the world. And it's like, it's actually mostly building cogs. And I think the people that are sending us there with the hope that we change the world don't know that. Like, you know, like so many of these schools actually are just exist to keep people right in the funnel. Yeah. And you think like,
it's not actually to ascend classes. It's to like prep included. Like it's to maintain
the 1%.
Put us in Credit Suisse or to work at JP Morgan. Not to fuck with y'all partnerships. I know internships are hard out here, but
yeah, and I'm pretty sure they already all turned their backs anyway because of Donald J. Trump. So
yeah,
fuck.
Like
fuck you.
How do you think your education prepared you for corporate?
It didn't. A little. That's not true. What we're talking about, like getting into private school and trying to dissect this environment and like these norms and the way people interact with each other and this culture, like I think that is a muscle. That is my 6th sense. Is like anthropology. It's like I hear, I see, I anthropologize. Like it's really its own sense that we developed over these years of like being thrown in these spaces where we were like, oh wow, like the values system here is very different. The way people interact with each other is very different. The way people are friends with each other or lack thereof is very different. I think that really prepared me to go into corporate and assume that like I can't just bring myself and that's gonna work. That I need to kind of watch this space and then see the vibe. But ultimately, I think that's it. That's why my reaction was so like no, because I also just think generally speaking, like work is kind of a microcosm of what we're talking about. It's not necessarily always about doing the best work. It's about doing the thing correctly within the politic of the job you have and executing that right and making sure the right people like you. And it's not actually about
the work,
doing the best work ever.
Yeah.
It's about
just being visible and talking your shit
and making revenue. Revenue. Growth.
Targets.
And I mean, that's really, I think this is really part of it too. Why I think our tight little age group, my tight little pussy, that like we also are here, we're like in our mid-career in the moment when VC and like investments and things have really taken over corporate, especially even in entertainment. Everything is growth and revenue focused.
Yeah, it's to maximize profit, which is the goal of capitalism.
The goal of maximize the profit, even if the product is working great and everyone's happy and it's making so much money and the CEO has 8 BMWs and 3 Ferraris and 1 Lamborghini. It doesn't matter. It's growth. And that obviously comes at the expense always of the people. And that we've experienced that corporate world where it's like, yeah, you guys just crushed the quarter. Thanks for raising our revenue so much. We're going to let you guys go now. I mean, I think I can say this. I don't care. My literal email laying me off from Spotify said, I know this may come as a surprise as we just had the best quarter ever in the history of the company. That is true. And I understand why you're confused. And then they kept going. They said, no, that's true. Sorry.
And we're still laying you off.
And it's just, the disillusionment has really increased recently. And then I guess that's what I want to say is like, yes, I was realizing this during high school and college. Like, yes, there was definitely a blatant moment of like, okay, these rich people suck. This game is actually a little bit like of a rat's race. It's not actually going to happen. These people are set up from their childhoods. These people have college funds. Their parents are giving them an allowance of $20K a month. Like, I should not be competing with these people or thinking about how I'm going to achieve their life because they actually have a whole other things happening. But at the same time, I think we still thought if we just keep going to school and doing good, we'll get a job and we can at least reach this stability. Like, I think this concept of stability felt like something that once I had it, it would be there forever.
Yeah.
And I think throughout college and internships and all of that, like, it still remained in reach. It felt like, and that really wasn't until this era we're in with the way that I feel like the economy and capitalism is just really breaking before our very eyes. Like the cracks are there and everything's leaking out. Now is fully when I'm like, wow, this shit is all one big scam. I think touching it and having it for a second and having it be yanked away is really what did me.
Yeah, let's go back to when you were touching it.
Yeah.
So how did you change after acquiring wealth?
Well, this is, and by wealth we mean literally.
You mean 6 figures?
Literally the lowest 6 figure. Any bitch that says they make 6 figures makes $100,000. You're never gonna find a bitch that makes $900,000 saying I make 6 figures.
No, literally just
You're not finding it.
The 6-figure range, guys, goes from $100,000 to $999,999. That is the 6-figure range, and it's the.
But we got the 100 and said I'm rich. It's on me. No. You said, parents, I got you.
No, literally.
I'm going to save my family's life. It's so beautiful and earnest. You won't.
And it's really fucking poor.
And it's because the system is, you need to be more radicalized than I need 100K. And that's the only reason why we talk like this. It's like, get that 100K, girl. Like, that was fucking monumental for me. Like, someone who grew up with just never in our lives were we financially, like never in my conscious life. When I was 5, I guess we were, right? But never before that were we financially comfortable. For me to have that, like, my paycheck is going to come and all my bills can be paid for and I'll have some money for myself. And like, I'm at these companies where they're flying us places and we're traveling and we're staying in 5-star hotels. I developed a taste for the high life. And we already did, right? We were in boarding school. We were always in these spaces. We were in those internships. We were always in these spaces of wealth and niceness. And then whisked back away to our poor lives. And that whiplash was tough. But I think once I actually had the job, I was like, okay, like, you asked how I changed. Like, I was like, okay, this is welcome to the future of my life. I'm just going to keep making more money. This is what I worked for since I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
Like, this is why we pulled all-nighters at the age of 11 and stunted our growth.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I felt entitled to this. I was like, this is what I was told. This was why we did things that we should not physically have done as children. Like, we were literally reading Charles Dickens till 6 a.m., grinding, falling asleep, writing 10-page papers, going to boarding school. People are calling us niggers. And everyone's like, just keep going.
Every day.
They're like, nigger. They're like, focus on your work. Just keep going. Of course I feel entitled to this shit. And I think what I was saying.
No, seriously. And it's just like, I just remember last year when you were unemployed. I was like, it radicalized, even though like it didn't happen to me, but I was radicalized because I was just like, he went to Harvard. Like, what do you mean? Like, we literally woke up and fought white people every day for 4 years. And then you went to Cambridge and you did it again. And you did it again. And you succeeded defying the odds.
And then you get this brutal first job where you have to, and that was its own ego death. When we realized like, oh, we just did all of that to get to the starting point with everybody else. Like, I have to go now prove myself in a job where they're going to beat my ass. I was like, I'm ready to be a CMO, bitch. Like, I worked. And then you get the job and then you get the big golden job and you're like, okay, how could I be destitute again? And they come up with something.
No, it's so funny. And it's so funny that you talk about this idea of entitlement, because in a way, I do think this is the privileged part of our course.
Of course.
Because I was telling you just yesterday how, like, you know, a lot of people who had my job, I got it straight out of college. And like, you know, it's a pretty prestigious company. Like, people really like to work there. And yeah, I'm very thankful for my job. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, thank you for employing me.
It powers the podcast. Thank you.
Yeah. Period.
Powered by
Bleep. So I'm very thankful to have you. But a lot of people.
Now we work at the same Bleep.
Oh my God, we do. Wait, guys. We work at the same Bleep. We work at the same company.
We can't tell them that. Or they'll get us fired.
Oh,
they're going to screenshot things.
So we're going to have to cut this.
Maybe.
Okay.
It'll be BTS.
But essentially, like, a lot of people had to work agency jobs and like work their way to get to the role that I had. Whereas like me, I applied straight out of college. Like, it was either I was going to go into private equity and I was going to be a finance girl, or I was going to go into tech. And so I was like, tech is going to give me more options. Finance would have ruined my mental health. So I'm going to go into tech and hopefully it's going to open more doors for me, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do post-grad. And it's just always so funny to me how when people tell me like, oh yeah, like I grinded it out at the agency making $35K a year. And I was just like, that would have never been me. Like, I would have never done that. And it was literally in part due to going to these schools and like working at prep, because I'm just like, that was never in the cards for me to leave school and make $35K. Like, that was not, it just unfortunately was not my reality. Like, I was not.
And they were teaching us that entitlement.
Yeah, they were.
Because that's the only way to live that life, is you do have to like be entitled to it. So the ego death that comes when you realize like you're just actually any other bitch on the side of the road and anything can happen. Yeah. That was my entire year last year. I mean, me and Sam talk about this all the time. Like, ego death. Like, ego death. Like, I have a rug in there. That's the Internet album, Ego Death. It's ego death. Like, wow, yeah. In an important way. Like, I think it happened to us at different points of being humbled. Yeah. Guiding prep was the first one. Like, prep accepted us because they were like, you're so brilliant and smart. And then we're like, here's the hardest work ever. That's going to make you feel really dumb and stupid. And we're going to actually let you know that you're not special. The life's kind of been a series of those. But I think to close a point even I was making earlier about like rich people pretending or like wanting to sound like they slaved and worked so hard, when in reality, like, they just worked hard in a different way that will never compare to somebody that like wasn't set up right from the jump. That like part of, I was never ashamed. I mean, in high school, right? When we were like teenagers and people are being classist as fuck, like we were all, you know, had some shame about our class. But as an adult, I've never been ashamed of my background. I'm glad I grew up with something that would give me a little edge, honestly, because these rich people are so just vapid. Like, they have nothing to offer. And I'm glad I have perspective. And like, I'm glad I have humility and like the understanding of what it's like to struggle, and character, integrity, and some good stories. Yeah. But that I was ready to move on from that. Like, I was ready. Like, the second I touched that 100,000, I was ready to be like, and that's behind me now. Like, I was ready for comfort. I was ready for dinner. Like, you know, there's so many moments. Would you say you
slotted into the Black wealth stereotypes? We're going to get into that and what that means.
Like, yes and no, because so much of it is also tied to like gender performance and like straightness. And I feel like because I always was kind of like, I feel like.
Are you attacking straight people?
Yes.
On this podcast?
Yes. Every time. Never stay safe. You won't be safe. This is just me going like, yeah, it's not a knife. I think in general, the way I've seen like the Ivy League industrial complex, you know, all the Black kids, they graduate and everyone gets a job at the same like 20 companies, and then all start hanging out at the same 20 places and going on the same 20 trips and dating each other and procreating and being eugenicists together. Like, I think I'm joking about the eugenicist part, but I think like generally there's a certain like way you fall in line, and you go to the vineyard, and then you join Jack and Jill, and that I feel like we were disillusioned from that early on, because I just always felt a bit alienated from that space and culture, because, you know. So I yes and no, but like, you know, I wanted to go to dinner. I wanted to upgrade to Comfort Plus. You know, I wanted to stay at the St. Regis. And I did. Like, yes, because those are the things that are sold to us. Not even are sold to us. That literally are sold to us because they are comfortable. That's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But I think also it's like, I don't know if you ever feel this, but I feel like we're constantly in conversations with people where they're saying things about their norm and their lives. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if only you knew how crazy this sounds. Like, but you know, who wants to be the annoying broke bitch always being like, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke. And I think that's really what I mean. And there are some people that are willing to do it. And that's what I really mean by getting the job and being ready to put it behind me is I was like, I'm okay to pretend like I'm just like y'all for right now. It's okay. It's fine. Like, I'll do it. I actually would rather that. I want to be calm. I want the rest. And I think last year was such a whiplash of I had to go back. I couldn't. Like, by month 9, I'm out of money and I can't. And when someone's like, can you do this? And I have to be like, no, I don't have money. And I would think I was so ready to not be that way because that felt like my life for so long. Yeah. But I think it's, you know, I've landed somewhere in the middle now where I know that I can, you know, might have periods of stability, but that I will always ultimately be, you know, a broke nigga. Like, that is my identity. Like, that is my upbringing. That doesn't matter how much money I have. That is that perspective has shaped. That is the thing that's shaping my perspective always is broke niggahood. Like, that is how I see the world. And I'm so glad. I will always empathize with the proletariat. I will, because of the way, and I think that the danger of whenever your entry point is and whenever you get sold it, it's very easy to whisk the people away from that part. They don't see themselves as the poors. And they don't want to empathize with those people. They want to empathize with these people up there because it makes them feel good, like they're aspiring to that.
Yeah, one of my mentors at work was like, she's a canvasser for Zoran, loves him down. And she was like, yeah, like, I'm just one of those people, no matter how rich I am, like, I believe in paying my taxes so that, like, everybody can have dignity and livelihood. Like, it's just that. And I've never related to something more of like, because I hear every time I'm around my rich friends, they always like, money changes everyone and like, just watch. And like, I feel like I've gotten that so many times of like, yeah, like, you want to do good for the world and everything, like, good for you, and like, just wait until you get that money, like, you're gonna be
which
just
is them
like
assuaging themselves for having literally zero integrity.
And I was just like, actually, no. Like, I do think I have broke nigganess in me forever. And like,
I mean, how much of your money that you've made at your company has gone to your family? Think about it. Like, it's wired in us, like, and to our friends. That's why we don't have no money. That's the thing.
What's that?
Us niggas collect money for 5 seconds and we're covering the bill and we're buying everybody drinks. Yeah. And that's because that's also how you're raised. We're passing
the same 10 cents around.
The same 10 cents around. Me and Christian literally loan each other $100 every other week. Because he gets paid on opposite weeks. And he's like, I don't have money. So I give him 100. And I pay it back to me and he gives it to me. That's just like, we grew up because we didn't have money. It didn't actually mean anything. And I think that's what it is that when you don't have money, yes, money is this thing you're always thinking about and worshiping and looking to, but also it actually becomes very meaningless.
But let's actually like park it right there, right? Like, real quick.
Let's park it.
Let's park it. Poor people be in community. Like poor people are generous. Rich people are stingy as fuck.
And that was the gag of high school and college. That's what
gagged me about
I was like,
school.
You use Venmo requests? And Venmo came out when we were back in high school. You remember when Venmo dropped?
Yes. And people
I remember when Venmo came out.
Rich people will Venmo request you to the fucking cent.
I'm like...
to the cent. Meanwhile, they're in Vail every other weekend. You're just, I'm shocked.
And God forbid you say, were you not in Vail? Now you're the bad guy.
Yeah. Oh, once you bring up daddy's money, it's a problem. Like,
and it's funny to see sometimes even poor people that acquire money act the same way. Usually not. I feel like that's been my experience, but like that really is why, that's part of also why my positionality and my mentality will always sit where it is, because I also was like, oh, that is just not me. That is not my culture. I will never like, I would never be that person. Like I'm just, if my friends aren't good, then I'm not good. Like, you know, if the people I love aren't good, then what do I look fuck like? This. Like, yeah. What's that fucking Drake lyric?
I do not quote Aubrey. I don't know.
No, it's like take care. It's like that. He just talks about how, you know, all his niggas are up in his house because they're not good. He's not good.
Oh, good for Aubrey.
Yeah, and that was Communist. A long time ago. I'm sure he's yes, Comrade Aubrey, Comrade Graham.
Period.
Yes, right, exactly.
All right, Aubrey. What I was gonna say is, growing up in the Guinean community, it's like a community of service workers and like people who are doing nursing jobs, taxi drivers, like cooks, things like that. And so it's like growing up in that community and like, you know, my parents never missed their monthly contribution to whatever like associations or communities that they were a part of. If somebody was sick in the community, like I grew up where every Sunday my mom was cooking and my mom would cook huge platters for people.
I was gonna say that my grandma like used to apparently feed a single mom of 4 would like feed the whole neighborhood every Sunday.
But the thing is like right? For like Guinean, like I would say like Guineans, most mothers were doing that on Sundays. Like my Sundays was helping my mom cook because, and then after we were done cooking, my dad would take these huge pans and drive it around and drop it off at people's houses. If somebody was sick, if somebody just had a baby, if somebody, you know, whatever it was celebrating something. So like community and generosity is like ingrained in us, even though we didn't have like an abundance like I've seen people have. It's just something that
we
like,
had some, and we knew the perspective of like, we made it here. We have a house. You guys are in school. Like we have a car. Like that is enough to give back. Yeah. And other people are thinking the opposite way. They're like, I have this baseline stability and comfort, but it's not enough. So I have to hoard and save. And like growing up, my mom would always, you know, would sometimes get annoyed with my dad because we'd be sitting here with no money and that nigga would be giving people in the street money. And she'd be like, nigga, we need the money. But he always has been a generous man. And I'm so grateful for how he raised me and taught me like to, like if there's someone in the street begging or someone who's homeless, like you look them in the eye and you say, I don't have anything. Or you recognize and you actually think, do you have something? You actually, because I feel like people are like, oh yeah, just look them in the eye and say no. But also, what if you said yes? What if you took some time to buy them some water and like talk to them? And that I think is a perspective that I'm so grateful that I just like grew up with. Like we would be driving in the car, we'd be late as fuck. You taught me that. My dad would be like, stop the car. And, you know, we get out and we hand people money and we talk to people. We'd have regular people we knew that he would see on the same block. Yeah. And that is something that I grew up on. Like, you know, that's some Jesus Christ shit. Again, that's actually the tenets of Jesus Christ, right? But we've really strayed.
That's funny because Loki, you taught me that. It's not enough to just like ignore that person, but it's like to be able to like be like, no, I don't have any, acknowledge and like speak words to this person.
And I realized too that I think my experiences with home insecurity, like, you know, I'm grateful to never have like slept on the street, but just not always knowing where I was going to sleep or where I was going to live. Like it really like, it was traumatizing. Sorry, it's not funny. But that like, now that when I see homeless people, like I feel like it sounds so silly, but I think people really see someone who's so far away from them who like, they could never be. And I'm like, a lot of us, most people in America are how many one medical emergency.
We're closer
one
to
layoff
them.
to that than any of these like oligarchs and fucking billionaires and millionaires that we want to aspire to so badly.
Exactly.
And I think like, I know a lot of people aren't truly feeling that empathy inside because they don't believe that low key. They're like, yeah, that's true, but like not me. Like it would never be me. Like da. And you talk to any homeless person and there's like 3 different things that happen to them. It's always the same thing. Some kind of abuse, right? Some kind of medical problem or a mental health thing. Like those are always the 3 things almost every single time. Or, you know, people who didn't grow up with family who supported them, who like, you know, who are in a precarious position.
Or didn't understand the legal system though. It just takes one little thing.
One little thing. There, and people do not understand that. And I think it is the baseline issue actually for why there's this miscommunication is that we know so intently how much work it takes to self-build yourself and how quickly and easy it is for that all to fall and how many systems are in place to make sure that you do hit those snags where it does fall. And that like, you know, when you look into fucking history, you see the way Black people built a Black Wall Street before. And there was all these like prosperous, you know, networks of people that were right out by the KKK or their houses were burned down, right? Like, and that still is happening metaphorically. That is basically what happened to my family. The mob came and took the house, right? It was legal, but you know, and I feel like when you really sit and deep that, it's like there's no way that you're gonna like look at everything at face value and be like, oh, those rich people, they just worked harder and they're better people, and that's that. Like, yeah.
Before we even get into the next section, I kind of want to go off on a little tangent because earlier we were talking about like how we grew up in these communities of generosity and and particularly me, like being raised by parents who like would literally give the shirt off their back to their community members or to their families back home. And we always have the discussion of like African parents sending money home, but that's a whole nother episode again. But I'm realizing, truth moment, like I'm realizing as I am getting older, right? And like I do make good money in a way for my financial security, like I feel like the same way my parents gave everything without no boundaries, like I feel like that's what's kind of expected of me in a way. And that
low-key continues the cycle.
And in their perspective, they kind of maybe see me as someone who's becoming stingy as I'm making more money. But but like for me, I'm like, I'm protecting my financial health and like I'm making sure that like, yes, I could dip into the savings account, but like that's for emergencies. And like I'm not gonna do that for every time you call me with an emergency, because it's not always an emergency, so you have to say no sometimes.
And also that like I think something that I recently was realizing, because I think I've had the same, you know, we talked about this a lot of like, damn, we get to the place where maybe we have some savings and we have some stability, and then you have to give it all to your family, it all goes away, and then you're like, now we both all don't have money, you know, because you're not giving money that's gonna like solve the systemic problems that make them not have money. It's just a Band-Aid solution. It's just a little plugging some gum in the hole of the pipe. Like it's not gonna fix it.
Yeah.
That guilt of being in that middle ground of like seeing yourself get more covetous over your money when you have more of it. And I'm really grateful that like my mom has always been really supportive and like colluded with me to hide my money from my father. But like truly has been like, it is important that, you know, as they say on the airplane, you have to put on your safety mask before you put on your neighbor's, right? It doesn't make sense to be trying to put theirs on and yours isn't on and now you both dead. And like I think that understanding that balance, because it gets really dicey, because people take that and say like, and that's why I'm not giving anybody anything. And I think what I've recently clicked for me is that when someone asks me, do you have money to help me? And that's always the question, is do you have it? That answer is not dictated by the amount of money in your account. You have to look at your finances realistically and say, will this take me out? And it's honestly, for me, it's even the question of like, if I give you this, will I be able to help literally anybody or anything else tomorrow if something else happens? And that means I don't have enough, actually.
Yeah.
And I think I've come to understand too that it's like, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm not, and like anybody that you are in their, like in life with that you know, you help to take care of, like they need to have a diversified assets. They need to have diversified pool of people to ask from, because it can't all rely on one person. That's like a lot.
You almost sounded like a financial literacy.
No, I'm literally a financial literacy person for the privileged poor who makes low six figures. Because I think we are the people that get caught in that trap of like, it can continue the cycle of generational poverty when you spend all your money, right, on giving back. And then, and especially because those things are not fixing the problem. So then you're both here broke. And I think I've even come up with this rule of like, you know, if it's X%, I don't know what that number is, right? But like if it's 6% of my savings account, I can give you that. I have that money because it doesn't change this amount. But if it leads to me, now I'm fucked and I'm paying for, it's a lot of the things our families are dealing with are things people don't even fucking conceptualize. Yeah. It's the overdue storage costs for the storage unit you have because you can't get a house because you got evicted before and it's on your record that you can't get the house and you need to have a certain amount in your savings account, but you don't have the amount in your savings account because you live in a hotel and the hotel costs $100 a day. It's like people just do not understand the stack and the question, why do they live in a hotel? And it's like, well, why did, and then it's like, well, there was a mortgage scam. Oh, like people do not understand actually how insidious it really gets.
Or just like how much these costs kind of like build up. And it's just like lawyers, fees. And it's like, yes, it's $3,500. Yes, it's $1,500. But it's like when that's like adding up $6,500, all these things. And you're like, that was $35,000. That could have been a down payment
on something,
on a house. That could have actually stabled us.
And that's the thing that my dad always said to us growing up. And I didn't always get it when I was younger, but he would always be like, don't let anybody tell you your parents are poor. And I never really understood what he meant, but I get it. The amount of money my father has made to sustain the impoverished life we have, it's very expensive. It's like incredibly expensive to not have money.
It's so expensive.
It's so expensive. At one point in my childhood, I remember we lost the car, so we had to rent cars. We were in Avis cars. Because my parents had to take me to school, right? There's no time to not. And you end up in a situation where, you know, if you're living in hotels or motels, that's fucking expensive. That is more expensive than living in the house that your grandmother passed down to you. And there's a lot of I don't even think, and this is what this is the point that I wanted to say.
Queens, because they're getting a lot
They're
of
the
things
welfare
for
queens.
free.
And I think that that's the point I want to make, is that actually everybody's experiencing the same things we're talking about. The vicissitudes, the ups and downs, the I fucked up and I lost all my money. The like, oh, I ran into a bunch of credit card debt. Everybody's experiencing
And
that.
rich people get to
People get bailed out.
Yeah, they get to file bankruptcy and
They
pay
get to
an
file
expensive
bankruptcy.
lawyer.
Or, you know, they can't pay for their house, so they sell it to their sister who rents it back to them. And their sister's like, yeah, I'll buy your house. I'll just buy it. And then I'll rent it back to you. And I'm glad they can do that. But for some reason, that doesn't seem to click to them, that is the only difference between me and you. Not hard work, morals, whatever the fuck. It's the fact that you had the bailout. Like, the amount of times I've heard of people be like, oh yeah, I lost all my money. You know, there's people that have fallen to drug addiction and lost everything, but they had the safety net to get them back out. Yet we villainize people who didn't have that safety net, that end up on the street or that end up not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so funny how niggas have amnesia. It's really, really, really crazy.
You know, we've been walking around, we've been teasing, but I think it's time that we just open the Pandora's box and we just actually just talk about the rich and just really just get into it, because y'all are different. Like
different.
Different.
Oh, and
God.
it's crazy.
Especially and the reason why this section is important is because it's gonna Black wealth.
Well, and that's kind of one thing I want to, and I'm glad you said this, because that face. Because earlier you asked about perceptions of wealth growing up, and I think I answered very generally. But Black wealthy people is a whole other thing. You know, Black people love a rich nigga. They love it. They love it because can you fucking blame us? Like, this entire country is structured around our demise and has been since its inception. That was actually the economy. So for people to see Madam CJ Walker pop out and have something all the way from Madam to Rihanna, you know, they sell us these stories and it ignites hope and it says, oh my God, you can do it too. But those people are glitches in the system that is designed for that not to happen. It's not designed to happen. And I think there was a lot of worshiping of Black rich people growing up, for sure, because it was like, okay, you know, the white people, it's easy to say like they're crooks, they're criminals, they're thugs. Like, easy to like be like, I'm not going to base my goals or morals off of them because they had a head start. You know, they're exploiting people, whatever it is. They have white privilege, whatever it is. But in the Black people who do make it and are self-made, it's like, okay, you can do it too now. You can do it too now. And then they sit down and they go in there rich and they turn around and they scoff at the Black community like, ugh, you poor Negroes, like, figure it out. And I think there's this idolization of the vineyard Blacks and the Oak Bluffs and that Ralph Lauren commercial. And I mean, it is.
Yeah, I want to get.
It is.
Did you see the Oak Bluffs Ralph Lauren?
I did.
Yeah. What were your
thing
your
that
thoughts?
was funny is because there
were people we knew in that commercial.
I literally saw it and I thought, oh, cute, the rich Black people doing their thing, and the amount of discourse it caused. And I was like, we know this entire community has existed and it's been existed. And, you know, as someone who studied and majored in history, it's really important to learn your history, guys. Everything is repeating itself, right? And also everything has an origin. And everyone, because, you know, in the discourse, of course, is the people being like, let Black people be capitalists. Let us be rich and classist too. Like, you know, people fight for that right. People really want it because they want it so bad because it's radical for Black people to hoard wealth. Like, oh God, please. But when we look back and trace back these Vineyard, Idlewild, right, all these places, who was going there? Light-skinned people that were passing, right? People that were pretending to be white for survival. Maybe I would have done it too if I could have. I don't know. If we were light-skinned in 1850, maybe we would have done it. Ismatou, if we were light-skinned in 1883, I wouldn't have done it. You would have done it.
I wouldn't have done it.
You would have done it.
Okay, I would maybe.
You would have done it. If it was 1883.
Okay, maybe in 1883.
If it was Reconstruction, girl, you would have done it. If you were in Louisiana during Reconstruction, during Jim Crow, the Black codes, you would have done it.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of those people were strategically only breeding with other light-skinned people to keep the families light-skinned. It was a very elitist, anti-Black, like, echelon of people that was formed by also people that were never enslaved, right? There's also the freedmen of it all. When you look back at those origins, they're all exclusionary, classist, colorist, and it's hard to then glamorize this like, oh, it's just Black people being wealthy, just Black people. And like, honestly, I don't give a fuck at this point because we're not going to stop them. They love it so much. They think it's freedom. They think it's liberation. They truly do. And I cannot help them. But I do think just it's such a shame because the it's such a shame because the sale of that dream is what keeps the hamster wheel going. That's it.
Like for me, like
It's such
I
a
had
shame.
before going to boarding school, I like genuinely was like rich people are like white people are evil, but I didn't realize it was like rich people are evil,
And rich
then-
people could be non-white. No
and
one
rich
told us
people can be
that.
non-white. And then I met like rich black people, and I was just like, oh, you guys are actually the scum of the earth. Like,
And you know what? I want to wake up right now. And I think what you just said right there, I want to really wake this up. Wake up. Is that, I think the word identity politics, right, has been thrown around for 15 years now. And every time it's said in a deeply offensive way, usually from a right-wing Nazi, as a coded way to be like, I don't give a fuck about you Negroes, about you gays, about you women. I don't care. I love your oppression. I bask in it every day. That's usually the way it's used. And I understand people have a visceral reaction to it. I think we can now finally say, honestly, in the last few years, that identity politics, I don't like the word, but the identity has been weaponized over the last decade or so to distract us from issues. And that is identity reductionism. And realizing that that's been happening by the elite. People down here, the actual brokies, the actual oppressed people that are actually affected by over-policing in Black neighborhoods, by these different things, by poor education and redlining and segregation, and gerrymandering and voting, all these different things, we're talking about our problems and our struggles. And I say we lightly because we're in the Black bourgeoisie a little bit. But growing up, I have the perspective of poverty, what that actually is like. We're talking about these issues, and then the academics are making scholarship about it, and then the elite 1% is taking it and selling it back to us at a premium, one. And two, using that to shield themselves from criticism about their class. Because then I'm Black, I can't be critiqued. And this is the rich people's favorite thing to do. And it's the white women's favorite thing to do. And I think it's such a perfect way, again, to keep the cog in the machine. And realizing that, like, the Congressional Black Caucus, that shit is all being funded by AIPAC, too. It's like y'all actually doing the same games in order to accrue wealth and accrue status. But if we can just throw the racism around, it blocks us from actual accountability. And I think it's a realization that a lot of leftists like me and liberals don't want to have, because it sounds like right-wingy, but we have to be serious. It wasn't the people that are talking about these issues and raising awareness about that who created this. It was the Democrats. It was the rich people. That's literally what I was even talking about earlier. Like, it was like, when trans people started really, I feel like the movement started to really crystallize in the late 2010s in the US, and there was so much momentum. There was a lot of things we were talking about. We're talking about trans women dying at a higher rate than any other group. We're talking about trans unemployment. We're talking about trans people being safe and being placed in prisons that align with their gender identity. The government said, pronouns, we'll take that one. Blow that shit up, cause a culture war. Biden will say, there's I take he, him. And we're not going to address any of these other things that ultimately have to do with class, right? Have to do with resources and access and capitalism. We're going to take the vanity thing that also we know will stoke a culture war anyway, so we won't even have to do it, but also will distract. Yeah. It's the same thing with when we're talking about Black Lives Matter. That was about what happens to poor Black people in urban places. It was not about, bless their souls, like they should be able to tell their story. But it wasn't about insert whatever Black actress was making 4 million instead of 6 million. But those people take these aesthetics and words and narratives and use that to distract from the actual problems that are actually plaguing Black people, that are making our lifespans shorter, and poor people, etc.
But this is what I love about Zorando, because I feel like he's been able to cut through that bullshit.
And he's like, a sign that everybody is feeling this way. Because it's so legible.
Yeah, because it's like,
you need to have money.
The problem is you cannot afford where you live. It's actually not about the bathrooms. And it's so funny because when I was having a conversation with homophobic African elders about this, and they were just like, no, like, we can't support him. Like, he supports LGBTQ. And I was like, you can't afford eggs. That is your problem.
We've got to get the priorities straight.
That is what your problem is. It is not the gays in Bushwick.
At all.
It is not what you do not. That has no bearing on your life. But you know what does affect your life? Medicaid. You know what does affect your life? Groceries. Making sure that they're affordable. Gentrification. Rent hikes. Bus lanes. Public transportation. Those are things that affect your life. And those are what you are voting for. Not the gays in Bushwick will keep on keeping on. I promise you guys.
It's not going to affect you.
It's not going to affect you.
And it's a shame too, because I'm hearing us talk, and I constantly see these two different sides. People that go full culture wars, full identity, no class. And then the Marxists that are like class.
Mm-hmm.
Who love the chance to be like, we don't give a fuck about anti-blackness. It's all about class, right? We go there very fast. And in reality, anti-blackness will always be the unthought, as I've read before. It's not my quote, is the unthought of every single political movement. Like anti-blackness will never be separated from it, but the class people love to get there and be like, and that's why it doesn't matter actually about anything else. It doesn't matter about transphobia or misogyny. And I'm like, wait, let's not take it there. And the sad part ultimately is that, you know, in this kind of swing to like class only, I've already seen it. The anti-blackness will jump the fuck out. They'll be like, and that's why it didn't fucking matter when the police were killing y'all. Whoa. And it's a shame that I also don't think we can have a class conscious and like centric conversation that won't alienate Black people, which is why though it's really hard for us to get Black people to be on the side of Zoran, right? Yeah. I think he's doing a great job of doing the outreach and bridging the gap. But I think they're very accustomed to being left out of those conversations. And for those types of people to shut them down when Black people are trying to call out intersectionality without calling it that, because they are just living it. When they're like, yes, this thing affects me and it's class related, but it's also because I'm Black that this is also happening in this particular way. Yeah. And we have to be able to talk about them all at the same time. And people are simply unable to do multiple things at once.
I don't know if we did this in the Black Excellence episode, because a lot of Black Excellence is actually propaganda that the rich Black have sold back to us. And it has a lot to do with class, right? Yeah. And I think, because I want to go back to the rich Black people. I want to come back for you.
Yeah. Who I think have a very particular class anxiety because Black people that are wealthy will never have the same type of wealth as the ones that started making it during slavery. Like it'll never match it. And if it does, it's new money, right? It's not blue blood. It's not like... This
includes rich Africans, by the way, too.
Yes.
Don't think I forgot about you.
Yes. We're in every
You're
continent,
included.
Baby. And they will always feel the most... Because this is the thing. This is why the rich people can sell our struggle back to us so well, because it's honestly horrendous. They end up in these white spaces, and these rich people are like, get the fuck out of here, nigger. Like, they're experiencing all this, like, being shunned because they're not rich enough. They're not good enough. And they reach this pinnacle. They have a Range Rover, right? They did it, but they still can't be accepted. You know, they live in their neighborhood, but people drive around and ask them, do you really live here? Those are the stories that get amplified on the fucking street. And I mean, that's what A Seat at the Table by Solange Knowles is about. Love that album. But it's about being a rich Black elite person and getting a seat at the white table and what that's like and that struggle. And I'm so glad she told that story. But we take that and we plaster it everywhere. And the reason why that's so widespread is because rich
poor
people,
Black people actually think they can identify with that. And exactly. It's just like, girl, you and Solange are living different lives.
Different
I
lives.
Promise
different
you.
Lives. Different
and
lives.
And y'all politics are very different. I don't know Solange, by the way.
Multiple things. You need to think about class as well. Exactly. But it's she's fab. And yeah, I think like because Black people that end up going to private school that have money, right, or end up in these spaces with rich people, they're always going to feel like I'm not rich enough, right? I'm not adequate. I'm not here. So then when our broke asses come over and try to tell them, you're privileged, you have money, you're rich, they're like, how could you fucking say that to me? And it's shocking, but it's like, and when you're like, hey, you know, we're raising like donations for XYZ thing. And they're like, I can't contribute. And I'm like, your dad's an anesthesiologist. But they are always operating from this place of class anxiety, of being like, I need to protect what I have / I don't have enough of it. And it doesn't work. We are the wrong audience. We're always going to be the wrong audience. And I don't know what we have to do. Like maybe we can write to Zoran about some legislation, but people whose parents make 6 figures, like actual 6 figures, like a lot of money.
More than $100,000.
Stop saying you're broke. Find a new word. Is this my camera? Find a new fucking word, please. Because if you're broke, but you have stock that your daddy bought you when you were like 12, you are not broke. Find a new word. I understand that relatively to your comfort, you're stressed because you have, you know, you have 20K instead of 25K. Everyone is entitled to feel how they feel. Please find new words. Like it's something that, and I know it's unintentional because they're saying it to me. And I'm like, I haven't had a job in a year. Why are you telling me you're broke? You're not broke. You're not.
When did you?
What are you trying to prove? Please prove it to someone else. You will never convince me.
You'll never get me.
You won't.
You won't get me.
And at the end of the day, here's what I'm gonna just wake this clock at real clock and wake up the tea.
Go.
Tea the house down, child boots. Which is that at the end of the day, like we've collected the mutual aid, right? We've hosted the fundraisers. We've asked for the donations. We see it, you put it on a graph, the rich people will always give less.
Yeah.
And
or nothing.
And it's just like it's just hilarious. The truth. It's just a truthful statement. And if you're watching this and you're getting a little hot, you feel the heat under your collar radiating.
Are we clocking it?
It's probably because you're one of those people. It's just the truth.
It's just the facts.
When you look
at
who puts
occurred.
the card down, you know, and now as we're getting older, that's less likely because everybody wants the credit card points. But when we were a little younger, who puts the card down? Not the person whose
people
parents
get really weird about
work
that.
in finance. It's the person who just got a job that pays $200K, who mom makes $10K a year and he's supporting her. That's who puts the card down. That's who buys the drinks. It's the broke person that newly has money. It's never the rich people. And you know, I often say, I guess that's why they're rich.
When did you realize all skin folk and kin folk, like in regards to like class, like when did you realize that rich people, regardless of their race, gender, sexuality, whatever the fuck it is, are no better than like you separated from like it being white people or their white counterparts?
Damn, I'm like sure I have such a specific moment too, and it's not coming to mind. Because it's like, when did I even start conceptualizing this separation? Because, you know, we grow up, it's like Black people were poor and we're all aligned with that. And we're all in solidarity with being poor. And white people are rich. And that's by design so that Black people and white people specifically don't think there's any organizing that they could do together, because that would end the whole thing if they did. And I guess like because in high school, because this is a great question as well too, thank you. Because I feel like in the 2010s were so racially charged. That's why it was the perfect breeding ground for identity reductionism to like grow in this country, because we were all really aligned. Like police brutality, that was when we got to high school. Mike Brown was killed, right? Then Trayvon Martin was killed, right? Then Ahmaud Arbery. We had all these experiences. Sean Bell was before that, right? Amadou Diallo was before that. So our entire childhood was like these racial tensions that really do supersede class in theory on paper, but we know the chances of who's over-policed, who's getting locked up, who can't pay bail. Like, we know class is inherently intertwined with all these things, but we can talk about it and everybody can agree. Beyonce can agree, and so can the girl on the side of the road, right? That we all want this. That because we grew up in that era, I felt like that's what the conversations we were all having all the time. We're all aligned. And I guess it was really coming into college and like starting to see like those class divides make themselves more apparent when like other conversations would come up, when it wasn't just about like the obvious stuff that Black people all agree on, like that we should not be gunned down by the police. Once we get past the easy stuff, it was like, oh, I'm not in agreement with all of you guys. Like, oh, you're not seeing my perspective. Like, I think that feeling of like, oh, I feel, and realizing that a lot of the time what I connect with people over most is not just that they're Black. It's actually that we struggled when we were children, or that we have similar positionalities in that way. And that was something that made me feel much closer to someone. Obviously, a Black person that experienced that, it's going to be like the utmost, like you get me feeling. But I think in college is almost a slow like realization. But to be real, I feel like something has changed in me in the last year and a half since the election, and since seeing the ways that Democrats and the blue MAGAs and the Black Democrats talk online, and really feeling a separation for the first time, like intensely, from the Democratic establishment and Black people specifically in it, and being like, oh, y'all are buying into the system in a really crazy way that I actually can only explain the difference in our positionality by class, because we're both Black in America.
But sometimes it's also some of these privileged poors have also bought into this.
Exactly.
It's these broke ass niggas.
They jumped right on the bandwagon.
Who are actually like, we are capitalists. Like, we are going to strive for capitalism, and this is what we're going to do, and this is where we're going. Yeah. And it's like, oh.
And it really is, because that's one of the markers that you made it, is that you can say things like that. You know, like joining that mission is part of the dream. It's like, this is what I wanted.
It's part of Black excellence.
And I think, honestly, being laid off, I mean, you said it radicalized you. Like, imagine how much it fucking radicalized me. Like, it was really I think I'll be processing it for the rest of my life, of like that 13-month process of going back to having the least money I've ever had probably, right? And realizing like, oh, the girlies are gonna rally rah 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 for Kamala, a Democrat, and that will not help poor people be less poor at all, and they don't care. They actually don't care at all. And that realization was like, oh. And then, and then we start looking back and realizing like, oh, and that's why class consciousness is always where they're like, cut that out now. None of that, because that is actually the thing that can break the system that has to run this way to keep this immense fucking wealth stratification. Yeah. And these Black capitalists, and especially the privileged poor new money Black capitalists, are just the perfect just little workers to keep the mission going. Yeah, no, for sure. I think for me, it was in college, meeting rich Guineans. Because, for most of my life, I was surrounded by Guineans who are working class. Immigrants, comes to this country, they're struggling, figuring it out. And, like, most of their children are like me, ascending classes. I think for the first time in college, I was meeting rich West Africans who were flying to the States just to go to college, to fly right back. And it was so crazy to me. Like, I would have all these conversations with them about like race and gender and all these things. But then when we teetered into the state of African politics and the economy there, and like the wealth hoarding and exploitation, the wealth hoarding, because that's what they are rich from. That's what they benefit from. Exactly, exploitation, right? Like all the thing, corruption, like all the things that is like wrong with Africa, like which is also racism, right? But they can only talk about racism in the context of whatever will help them advance their own money. That's where the conversation is. So it was just so funny to me. I was speaking to this girl, and her father essentially made money in the old regime, right? And he made a shit ton of money. He continues to make a shit ton of money. And, constantly has political unrest, right? And it was so funny. We were like, hee hee ha ha. We were hee hee ha haing until I was just like, yeah, and your dad's involved too. And then we stopped hee hee ha haing. It wasn't so funny anymore. And like, it was so incredible for me to see the switch in her eyes when she was like, what? Like, no, like, no, like, what? Like, this bitch is British, by the way. And she was just like, what? Like, it was just like, what? Like, it was like, she started studying. Like, her brain was malfunctioning. Like, there was no, like, acknowledge my privilege. No. None of all the privilege walks that we did, it didn't click for that moment. But for me, that and, like, interacting with other West Africans who, like, we would chop it up about everything. But the moment we got to class and we got into, like, the state of affairs, it was almost as if their minds went blank. You know what I mean? And like, they would say outrageous things to me, like, my dad is XYZ politician. And like, I would see the caliber, like the level of wealth that they had. And I'd just be like, why do mayors and governors and like government officials like in West Africa have this much money? Like, you have to ask the question, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and like blindly befriend, like, I'm not gonna sit here blind. Like, I have to, I'm so sorry, but I am a thinker. And they're shocked and offended at the implication, because they're also used to people not questioning that, because people do want to be around rich people. Exactly. They and a Black rich person is just like, wow, that's amazing that you achieved that at all because you're Black, and and they expect that people should just do that and not question it. Exactly. And like, also to do anything in West Africa, you kind of have to kind of like, in a way, be okay with the shit, and you have to mingle with these people that are doing these things in order to get ahead. Like, that is the understood rule amongst everybody. It's like, if you want to make money, or if you want to do something, or if you want to change the world, you kind of also kind of have to, if you want to join this class of people, you better shh and keep it moving and uphold the system, do the nasty work of upholding the system. Yeah, exactly. So that's when I realized, oh, y'all motherfuckers is real nasty. Agents of the state. Huh? Yeah, agents you guys are of the fucking state. Yeah. And I think another one, and I'm glad you said this, because another one I'm remembering too is, I think, we grew up, we've seen more wealth accumulation than anyone else in the world's ever seen, right? Like, how much money have the billionaires accrued since 2020 alone, right? You know that from work. We've seen this massive wealth transfer from boomers to boomers. Like we've seen this massive amount of accumulation of wealth, and the way that people have, this is why I say it's the latest stage of capitalism. It's so broken that people have found ways to just drain. And that also meant we've seen the first Black billionaires really like become billionaires. And I think, you know, we've also grown up in the era where we all are on the same page now. Billionaires shouldn't exist, right? Billionaires aren't ethical. And I think seeing Black people become billionaires and do the same shit every other billionaire did, it really breaks the spell. And I think we got to see that. I mean, we grow up
Jay-Z,
with Black
Jigaboo.
moms that worship Oprah, right? Worship her as sound. Like she is the girl. She is the woman. And I think I've watched my mom become radicalized. Like, you know, she's still, I'm sure, is reading those articles and watching it, but ultimately become radicalized into being like, yeah, I guess these billionaires are just wealth hoarders. Like, damn, like they fucking suck. And that wasn't the tea in the beginning. And we've seen, like, we watched.
Oh, your mom
Beyonce,
is really...
that is a radical woman, okay?
Yeah.
That is a radical woman, and she is her
because
her
I
brain
don't
is
think
so
her
malleable.
peers, you can change their mind like
they
that.
can't keep up with Hope. Malleable brain, smart woman. I love you, mama. But I think also we literally saw Beyonce and Jay-Z. I think when I say sell the struggle back to us at a premium, I am talking about my fave, Beyonce, because. You know, we saw her in 2016 get up in a Black Panther suit and dance at the Super Bowl and get put on the FBI watch list and boycott it after Colin Kaepernick was fired for kneeling, all for her husband and her to come right back in business with them. And now Jay-Z's picking the Super Bowl performer and Colin Kaepernick can't work. And we also watched Jay-Z say, I'm going to change Brooklyn and make Barclays. And what did Barclays do? Make his neighborhood completely unlivable for anybody that he's from. And now this fuck-ass casino. Have you seen this? And I think this is what it is, Ismatou. This is why I was like, I don't know what the moment is, but I know that I feel it now. Because when I saw this press conference where he was talking about this is going to change, this is for the community. And it was like, it rang so fucking hollow. It was like, maybe this shit would have tricked us in 2015 when it was so like beneficial to the Black bourgeoisie for anything Black to be radical, right? If you put Black in front of it, it's radical.
Yeah.
And the quote tweets on that tweet were so funny. They were like, pack it the fuck up. A casino is not going to help the community. A place that breeds more place for addiction and poor money spending. Fuck you, Jay-Z. Literally fuck you.
No, it was actually,
it's like actually it felt so like a smack in the face.
Yeah, it was so beautiful to see Black people being like, what the fuck?
And I think that there really is something shifting because they cannot hide. Like, it's broken. Like, and they've done it. They accumulated the wealth already. So that's why.
Even the conversation around the Oak Bluffs campaign, I kind of enjoyed it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we are discoursing, and
but we're questioning Black. We're not just saying it's radical because they have money.
Yeah, which is like, I'm so sorry, but that is such a step up from 10 years ago.
Yeah. Because representation is very limited. That's what I wrote my thesis about. Like this idea, and I think that we're also truly, I think we have learned this in real time so many times over the years. My thesis was about pose and representation, and like we saw that we had the biggest cast of Black trans women on TV ever. Has that helped trans people? No. Representation, I mean, it's also like having in these a Black elite president. Systems. Yeah, and that, yes, this is why I really do Black believe VP. We've had pivotal moments that people have been waiting for decades, that they thought everything would change, and it didn't. And like, we are disillusioned because we saw that, not our parents, not other people.
I think one of the most striking images recently that I think we've all seen is one of the US UN like representative raising her hand. It was a Black woman, dark-skinned Black woman raising her hand opposing like a ceasefire. Which is at the UN. And it was just like, well, that's a Black woman who quote unquote made it. Look at the interest.
Look, is this what our ancestors fought for?
Yeah, this is what our ancestors fought for.
You too can facilitate genocide. Is this freedom?
No, but I actually.
Is it liberation?
But actually, when I was writing this too, I realized though that yes, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Ilonika, Musk. They're like, well, actually, no. Let's take Elon out of this.
Add Rihanna, because those children in sweatshops are making her billions.
Yeah, Rihanna. No money, still bad, but like not in the way of like the true villains that we went to school with. That's the other thing, right? Like they are the face of rich people.
Yeah.
But it's also, and they're still bad. Like they're bad. Rihanna, Beyonce, and Jay-Z are bad. I said it. But I still want to interview you.
And like, you know, they accumulate wealth off of their art as well that we love, and they're not fully like they have a single $1 billion, which is a little different than the niggas we know are really puppeteering the shit behind the scenes.
Yeah, I feel like they're distracting us from like the real
Yes.
game players who are like the
Yes.
oil tycoons,
Yes,
like
the
the
Peter
people who own
Thiels.
water rights, like businessmen who we will never know the names of.
Mhm.
But we know they're kids.
The people that are trying to privatize like electricity so they can hike up the costs. Like people like Peter Thiel. He gonna have me killed. People like Peter fucking Thiel. People that are people again, and it's the names that we'll never fucking know. And it's so easy to distract us by everybody critiquing Taylor Swift and Beyonce. And yes, Taylor Swift truly has capitalistic psychosis. That's what I'm diagnosing. Taylor Swift, I'm diagnosing you with capitalism psychosis. And if you seek help now, you too can get better. You don't have to live like this. If you dial this number, 1-888, because 35 different versions of the vinyl, what is it for? She has so much money. And I think that's the thing. We thought we've watched them not stop. They don't stop. They don't stop accumulating and accruing until they're comfortable. They keep going, they keep going.
Keep going, keep going.
And yeah, I mean, maybe we can put up this thing on the screen because I wish I could remember it now, but I can't. But there is a really handy graphic that breaks down the very few billionaire families that control our entire lives. They control all of our elections by lobbying their money into local elections to ensure that legislation rules in their favor so they can keep fucking thugging the fuck out and making bans and billions and, you know, allowing it to be legal to make shitty products, to hurt people, and then cover it all with your lawyer so that when you get sued, you don't have to pay anybody. These are the people that are that are inserting the poison into our system. And I think that's also why Ismatou this past year and a half has radicalized me the most, because I really got into that shit. I was like reading. I was like, because, you know, it all starts with wondering, why is this foreign country so central to our country? And coming to understand, like, money. The Democrats and the Republicans are actually on the same side. Money. I think the more you deep that, the more we realize, and that's why class is the forbidden topic.
I agree. And I do think because we've also been able to put like faces to these names, like it's not just like we're reading about like these families in the news and they are like distant like caricatures. It's like we actually have like talked to them at parties and we know their politic is nasty. Like we know they actually really think like black people don't deserve clean water and things are a lot more complicated than it may seem. And like there's a reason like why Flint didn't have clean water.
And that we're disposable. And that it goes back to the same reason why they thought we should be enslaved.
Yeah.
We're less
because
people.
Things are so complicated.
Things are really, it's not that simple.
What you think it is.
And that's why we have to build the data centers right in your town and give your whole lineage cancer. It's just complicated.
Yeah, it's very complicated.
It's just super complex. So, big pivot. But back down to the fake rich, the low six figures. I'm curious, like, you saw that discourse about like influencers online and like them making too much money. And it was really interesting because I definitely agree with like takes I saw of just like at the end of the day, people are critiquing this because it's a majority women like run industry. It's giving like, it's giving really pretty girls a chance to make money and people hate it. It's like, it's why people hate OnlyFans. Because it's allowing people another route to access to stability. At the same time, I think influencing is another example to me of why we're in the latest stage of capitalism. It is the most like you're just a walking billboard. Yeah. And you get paid bands. Like what? That's crazy. Yeah, no. But ultimately, I think it's also interesting how everyone loves money and capitalism until it like breaks the rules like a little bit. And then
until black women have it.
Until black women have it. And then it's like, no, actually this is too much. This is too bad. I'm curious what are your, especially as you're kind of like in the 9 to 5, but you know, you're building your platform and like, yeah.
I mean, I think it's all the things that you just said. And I also think, look at all of these male streamers. Mr. Beast, all these people that are like DDG. Make hundreds of millions of dollars. Like they're actually the highest paid influencers. Like white men are the highest paid influencers.
And they are peddling like right-wing Nazi bullshit on these streams.
Yeah, literally. And it's like
frying the brains of the youth.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, like black women are making money in influencing, but nothing compared like to what white men are making in influencing. As someone who works at one of the, you know what I mean? Like, exactly, I know how much these white influencers are making and it's crazy, you know? And so like, there is something to be said about the fact that like, I can put up my camera, people could like how I look as a Black woman, and I can transcend classes and I can get like freedom, stability for my family. Like that is powerful. That is a very powerful thing, right? Now, when we're talking about like capitalism as a whole, is it crazy that like that being an ad or being a brand ambassador can yield you that much money in general? Like I'm talking, like I'm not in general. Like, yes, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
You know what I mean?
It's a symptom of just so many bad things.
And then to say that, like, to also like try to maybe moralize professions based on like their contribution to society, and like to say that like maybe because you like influencers don't deserve, or influencers make too much money. Like, what is too much money?
Also, like, because we also have been in these fucking jobs where we know what makes money, and it's bullshit. It's bull fucking shit.
Yeah,
and it's people like, that are working hard with specialized skills might make nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are doing manual labor. Like yeah, not like we're not about to go and say what people that work in finance deserve. They're playing with fake money, doing fake things all day.
They've created a fake game. And are participating and have built an entire environment and economies, and like things are crashing.
Consultants, like we just accepted those things because the gatekeepers have dictated these as real serious jobs. Like, that is bullshit. Like that's you buying it. That I'm like,
the fact that teachers don't get paid.
Yeah,
you know
like
what I mean?
That's like the most important
to moralize
job.
like I'm not gonna sit here and be like influencers don't deserve the money that they make because of XYZ, because it's like, who am I in this capitalism that we are in to say that, right?
But that's also why, Ismatou, because we know that we go to our jobs every day and we should not get paid that much. Like, we know that we as individual people should be like deserve our worth, right? But we know that this system where this work is valued somewhere, where you sit at a desk like this all day and then you get up and you get tea and you sit back down and you go like this. And we grew up watching parents slave and never even touch that amount of money, right? For doing nothing. Because we have that awareness, why don't we go sit here and try to valorize and influencing and say it's not enough hard work? And even if we want to go that route, it's a lot of work to do a lot of different things. Like you gotta be an editor. You gotta be very organized. You have to you're pitching yourself. It's sales.
Yeah, no,
you also have to show up places and talk to people all the time and go out every day. And that's a lot of work.
That is a lot of, it is a lot of work. And to say that like that person doesn't deserve it because of XYZ, or like they need to be doing more, and like, no. I just don't think it's my place to say that
at all.
And like, I think two things at once can be true. I think like Black women,
which I really want to. Yeah, I think you should say that one more time.
Two things can be true at once.
Like, so much of this episode is that, and that if we were honest, we would land there most of the time. But that's not very comfortable for people because it means like, oh, I can't just sit down and like assuage myself of all my guilt if two things are true at once.
Yeah, no,
and it also means I can't, take part ownership, part accountability, and part not.
Yeah.
If two things are true at once.
I've literally only seen one creator have a very nuanced take on this topic. Everybody else, like, I feel like a lot of influencers, Black influencers, and I get it. It's like, it's, like you worked, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just thinking about like me building up this podcast, building up this platform, trying to be a creator, all these things. And then someone tells me like, I don't deserve my money because of X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm going to be like,
I'm going to go off. Like,
I'm going to go off. Right. But it's also just like, I have to also understand like so much of the world right now, like times are tough, right?
Tough.
Times are fucking tough.
And that's something I guess I really want us to get across too.
And people are really thinking about capitalism and money and the economy in ways that they haven't really thought about. And like sometimes like influencers, like I think before it was like musicians and celebrities were like the first line of first line of like attack. But now it's influencers.
And you know what I was going to say? You know who else they always love to say makes too much money?
Who?
Football players and basketball players.
Oh,
and it's like, I wonder why.
We see what you're doing.
Any place where Black people have been able to accumulate money, they're like, that's where I become anti-capitalist. These fucking capitalist ass niggas, oh, that's where the buck stops.
Yeah, no,
the NFL, like, come on, let's be serious. Like, yes, everybody makes too much fucking money, right? Like, I can talk about both these things at the same time, but let's not do that. Like, that is just not, that's not it.
No, so that's my take on it. And I feel like, I don't know, some people might be upset about it or whatever, but like, I think also the influencer the person that came out and was just like talking about how some influencers are literally walking billboards. Like, that's also like True.
And billboards are expensive.
Yeah, and they are expensive.
Billboards are pricey.
Yeah,
and
they're
you're arguably getting more direct conversions. Like, anyway,
Yeah.
not to get into the funnel. But I think I'm curious, like, as we kind of close, like, I'm like, I don't even want to say it because it's like, it's the two things that can be true at once. But at the end of the day, we are chasing money, right? Like, we are. Like, we can't opt out of this game. But I think that, like, in the same way as the Black Excellence episode, I feel very strongly that it should be the people that are in this interesting place where we've experienced all these things. So we have a nuanced perspective. We know this shit is bullshit, but we also ultimately are on a path where we're close enough where we're going to try to make it work and benefit from these, like, this pedigree that has given us access to this particular type of money making as much as we can, knowing it's not the be all end all, knowing it's not promise, that we should be the ones critiquing it the most. But, like, everyone looks for the perfect critic, right? Like, you can only critique something if you are completely on one pole opposite against it. And it's very convenient because then no one's complicating it who's actually in it. And it's like, no, I refuse. Like, we're all already being hypocritical. So let's just say it out loud. You know? Like, let's own it. And because we're human beings. Like, we're talking about a lot of conceptual, ideological things. And then also we're humans with emotions. And ultimately we grew up a certain way and we'd like to not live that way anymore. But I do think that two things can be true at once can sometimes be used as an excuse to be like, and that's why I work at Palantir. And it's like, no. And I think that, like, we also have adjusted our goals. Like, you know, I'm sure you were growing up being like the smart kid and your community people are like, you're going to be a billionaire and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I just want to be comfortable. I don't, if I, my life, man. You know, if I,
and like, I think the Arizona that's CEO what everybody is chasing.
The thing is as 99 cents. Yeah. That's, even though it didn't really, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not going to chase the growth, revenue efficiency thing. I don't want to play that game. I don't want to opt into it. I understand people like Frank Ocean. 2 albums, leave me alone. I already have money. 20 mil. Damn. Oh yeah, because of that. Yeah, that man is chilling, and like that's me. Like, I actually, once I touch a little bit of money, goodbye. I'm not looking to play this game much longer. I would rather not. I'm opting out.
I'm not launching another company and another company and another company. I'm just done. Like, it's over. Like,
and it's really interesting as well too, because like the real radicals are talking about class suicide. They're talking about, if we really want to be radicals and be activists and break down this system, we need to commit class suicide. And that's where they lose me. I won't do that.
I won't do that.
Because I've been dead. I've been dead. I came back to life. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I won't do that. I was resurrected. Amen.
I'm always in the conversation. I'm like, yeah. And as soon as they take it there, I'm like,
and that's how I know that I'm a cog too. That's how I know. Because they're right.
And I am okay. I put my hands up and I'm sorry. And I'm not perfect. Yes, that's just the truth of the matter.
And also, other people should do that first. Not necessarily us. There's some rich ass niggas that need to go do that. Do not look at my ass, bitch. No. I don't have no fucking money already, okay? There's some real richies that need to go and do class suicide. Wrap up. Kanye did do, but you know who did? You know who did class suicide? Kanye. You're right. Maybe he is the real activist all along. He actually called out Zionism and committed class suicide.
He actually did, and it pisses me off. It pisses me off because, like, I don't know.
Because he lost $1 billion. He's not a billionaire anymore.
No, I think he got it back.
But I will say he also committed class suicide because of the deeply unsafe work conditions at his company, where he made his employees watch porn.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Read disclaimer. We do not support Kanye West here.
At work, turned his computer. He was in a meeting and was like, I want my shoes to feel like this. And turned the computer around and it was black.com. I also just feel like there's a reason why poor people survive off mutual aid so much and why rich people don't like it. Like, you know, like at the end of my unemployment, like that's what saved me. That's what was able to make me keep going. And like, we've both benefited from mutual aid this year with like your family, right? Like we all, and people, they don't like that because it's the same thing as class, like solidarity. Like mutual aid is how this like system of class that just, it's so easy to pull a lever and keep someone down, right? Like someone is suing a corporation, they'll lose because they don't have enough money for their lawyers, even if morally they should win. Like these easy buttons that classes created to press to be like, this person will always lose. Mutual aid is like is like the backdoor like secret technique in the machine that like breaks capitalism, and they don't like it one bit.
I agree. I mean, it's been so crazy because I feel like the last 2 years of our lives, like I feel like when we first got out of college and we touched some of that wealth, we were wealtly for like.
And
2
wealth
days.
is such a strong word.
It's so fun. No, I mean, I'm using it sarcastically.
I know.
I just hope everybody knows I'm using wealth sarcastically. Like I have never seen wealth, unfortunately.
Since unfortunately our wealth opportunities were cut short in 1492 when Christopher Columbus sailed the fucking ocean blue. And gave us all smallpox and syphilis.
Do you think, I want to end with this though, like, do you think someone could be ultra rich without exploiting people?
No, and I also kind of think it's a like waste of a conversation, that question. Yeah. I think it's a perfect distracting kind of like, because then we start sitting and talking about that instead of, capitalism. Like I think, because a lot of what we talked about is actually not about the individual at all. That's kind of the point, right? Like I feel like so much what we're talking about is like people focus so much on these individual choices. That's also why people individually think that them being rich is helping the collective in some way.
Yeah.
And the same flip side of like when we critique the individuals like Beyonce and Rihanna too much, we lose sight of like the system. I feel like no, like capitalism is exploitation, Yeah. And I think it's not necessarily a statement against anyone that's ultra rich or not, right? It's just that like I think playing
it's not about one person.
This game in itself is predicated on exploitation, and that's the structure and the system that we're in.
Yeah.
And American capitalism specifically is that.
Yeah.
And there's no way out of that, except for
someone recently, an HBS grad, if they're watching this, they recently were telling me about like we were talking about it on a night out, and he was basically like, capitalism spurs innovation, and like in socialism, like how are you going to innovate?
He said capitalism spurs innovation.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was like, it spurs innovation. He also talked about like how it's actually about property rights. And he called out something, and he was like how the problem with capitalism, in his opinion, is more so that he thinks it's inheritance. Like people shouldn't, inheritance is
that not everyone starts from zero.
Yeah, not everyone starts from zero. And if inheritance was blocked, that like capitalism would be fine.
But that would be socialism. Because what does that mean? Like, if you grow wealth and you win, and then your son has to start over every time? Like, these people piss me off. And also, just really quick to respond to this person and their point about capitalism breeding innovation. It breeds innovation at first. This is the funniest part.
I don't actually think it breeds innovation.
What I'm saying, because we're not building. People are like, oh my God, let's come up with all these great ideas. Let's make Uber. You can order a car to your door, right? Like, that's how it starts. It's like, oh my God, we're going to make music accessible to everybody. Oh my God, we're going to innovate because we want money. Then we always hit a wall where we're like, okay, it's hard to make the product work worse, fill it with ads, and then make the same thing 11 times. It always actually ends up completely cutting off all creativity, let alone the other side of like stress and like just the conditions that capitalism puts us under actively stifles innovation, creativity, like the amount of amazing things that could be made and executed by people if they weren't crushed by survival and capitalism. But I'm just glad you said that. It's so interesting because like it actually literally does at first. That's the whole thing. It always starts off, wow, this amazing tool, this is so cool, and then it actually becomes a thing crushing people instead. First it's an offering to the consumer to help, and then because of the way growth, revenue, profit, it always ends up clipping innovation completely and like any consumer centric position. Yeah, and I think with AI and everything, that's become incredibly clear to me too, right? Like it's like we're not actually building this new technology to like create an environment. We're not building the technology to make human life better. We're building for something else. We're building for something else, which is not that. For revenue and growth and profit. I think ultimately we live in a society that like privileges, goods and inanimate objects and money over people and like capital over people. And that's never going to work. What are the things we want to leave our guests with? I mean, I guess like, I have this chance, I guess, to say things to rich people, but that like, I think. Also, disclaimer. Wait, before we get into a disclaimer, because I feel like so many people are going to come here. Not all rich people. I don't care. Take that up with yourself in your diary. I'm talking about. They're gonna come. Not all rich people. And I'm gonna say, hit dogs holler. So if you feel like if you're not that type of person And I think if you really do believe that you're not one of those people, then that that's exactly what the culture is and how you're raised as a rich person. And someone I went to school with an incredibly famous dad posted something that I just appreciated so bad. I'm going to paraphrase it and hopefully we can put it up. But they basically posted saying, by the way, like, rich people, they are bad people. And they do sit around and talk about how their money, how they purposefully have their money not liquid so that they don't have to pay taxes on it. And they complain about donating and they try to dodge taxes every day. And then they sit and they talk about their $900 bottles of wine and how much they love having money. They are doing it. They are the demons that you think they are. And I've seen it. I've seen the conversations. I just know it's true. And I really appreciate it because I was like, we know. We literally know. They are safe in their money and they don't want that to be disrupted, and they will do it at the expense of people and exploitation. We see it through and through every time.
Yeah.
And it's, it's a bigger level of the same thing we're saying, which is that ultimately we're not going to commit class suicide. I'm going to go and try to get a higher paying job so I can pay my debt. That's the human of it all. But they are operating at the highest level. So the rich people that are in our lives, there's so many of them. I mean, one thing I'll say is just like you probably were, if you're Black or a person of color, I'm sure you sat and told a white person about how they need to like empathize and like listen and sit with that feeling of discomfort. And same thing for you, babe. Like when that feeling in your chest gets tight because someone mentions your class and it makes you feel weird, sit with it. And I've had friends that have come to me and said, hey, like, like this person said this, like, what do you, and me being like, yeah, that's exactly what the case is. Like, yeah, like people don't have any money. People live on nothing.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable in that. Like, I think it's hard because people think they know everything, but you don't. And I think I can guarantee that every rich person in here is alienating their poor friends in some way, or has, right? Or their poor friends aren't saying something to them or don't feel like they can. Just question it. And I'm really grateful for the rich people I have in my life that I know have. And even in the course of our friendship have.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, is just like on the individual level, like be fucking for real. Like there is a culture around class and wealth and a culture of silence, a culture
and there's an obsession with it.
And an obsession with it. And it affects how rich people move in every way, shape, and form. And it's unavoidable. So
yeah, and it impacts you the same way your experiences and how you grow up impact you. Yeah, your wealth, your money, being rich impacts who you are, your personality, how you do things.
Yeah. And we can see it. I think that's whether you feel like it's true or not, it's there. Yeah. Again, on the back end, when you look at the mutual aid, put it on a graph 1-to-1. And like the people that showed up for me the most last year, by and large, like, most of them, right? Like I have some rich friends who pulled up in the paint, and y'all know who you are, right? But generally speaking, it's niggas that also have nothing that will take their last 10 and give you 5. It's just always the case. You should be introspective about that.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, money can't save you. Money can't save you. Black capitalism is a joke. Capitalism is not the answer to poor problems. No dollar amount will save you from a crushing system that will exploit your labor.
That honestly not only needs to come crashing down, but it's crashing down right now.
No, literally.
Like we don't even have Social Security.
Yeah. And I will say, and even us, we are a victim of this. I will say, like, our focus on like wealth building, our obsession with it is definitely like killing our activism.
And when we were 12, they literally made sure that they put us there instead, so that we'd be at work during the protest, as that person said. And
our movements,
we were bred this way, so we also always have to square with this weird middle point.
Like our movements are definitely being co-opted by money and capitalism. And
what's class got to do with it? Fucking everything.
Everything. The same way everything we blame white people and like colonialism and capitalism is right there. Capitalism is right there and is a problem.
And they're similar, they're linked, but sometimes they're separate.
Yeah.
Because we've reached the point of freedom and diversity that Black people are also agents of capitalism now too.
Y'all are ops too. And that's the real tea.
And Asian people and Latino people, right? And all the races.
If
and
you
gay
are rich,
people
you are most
people.
likely an op. That's what I've gotten.
You are up until proven otherwise. You have to work away from opness.
Exactly.
Like being a man. I don't know. That's how I feel about man.
No, seriously.
You have the op gene. You have to work against the op gene.
No, but actually though, yeah, that's exactly how I feel about capitalism. Like my rich friends, I'm usually like, and don't get me wrong, not all rich people. I know you guys want me to say it so bad. Not all rich people. But like,
most
of y'all.
you know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
most of y'all are like that. And most of y'all are victims to the system. And not victims in the sense of like you guys are being hurt by capitalism, but you guys are definitely drinking that Kool-Aid. And you guys are drunk on it, girl. Like y'all are not trying to, y'all are cracked out on it. And that's your truth. And you have to live with it, not me.
Anyway, vote for Zoran. For an affordable New York City.
Period. And if you like what you saw, this was a fabulous episode.
It was.
We fucking did that. By the way, guys, we refilmed the fuck out of this.
We did. I have no memory of the first one.
I have no. We actually blacked. No, we blacked out.
We blacked out.
We filmed this episode and we blacked out and we said the craziest shit and now we refilmed it.
I have no memory of any of it. I think this was better.
If you like what you saw, you can follow us at On Our Terms Pod and you can follow me, your host, at UTomsy. And yes, it's my name backwards. I love saying that. You guys, I want to say it every time.
And it gags someone every time new.
Every time.
Every time one person's
really?
like, oh.
And you can find our fab guests at
CMoolah with 2 U's and 3 A's. You can also subscribe to my blog, CD Radio 8, the number 8, on all platforms.